Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done. Today's story, boys and girls, is about a teacher. Her name is Miss Susan Anderson, and she's the teacher of Knotty Pine Public School, Beaver Creek branch. The Beaver Creek School is a small place a little way out of Knotty Pine. How Miss Susan got into trouble and just how Bill and the fellows got her out of it, well, that's our story for today. Set the record straight. To begin with, let's drop over to the Beaver Creek School, where Miss Susan is doing her best to bring order out of chaos.
Children, now that's enough of this. Now, the 7th grade is going to have an oral examination in grammar. Now, while this is going on, the rest of you will be quiet and listen. Justin Alexander, you will be first.
Yes, Miss Susan?
Justin, what is a collective noun?
Did you say a collective noun, Miss Susan?
Yes.
Well, it's,
Did you read your lesson at home, Justin?
No, ma'am.
Oh, weren't you here yesterday when we went over it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have no idea what a collective noun is?
No, ma'am. Teacher, ask Pete. He knows.
Class, quiet. Now, that wasn't at all funny, Justin. And Peter Kloss, can you tell me what a collective noun is? Well, this takes the cake. What are you laughing at, Peter?
I don't know. Sorry, Miss Susan. I was just laughing.
Peter, what were you writing just before I called on you?
It was just some writing, Miss Susan.
Peter Kloss, open your notebook.
Huh?
Now open to the place where you were so busily writing.
Yes,
Just what I thought. Basketball plays you were drawing. Peter Kloss, when are you going to learn something besides sports? Justin, let me see your notebook.
Yes, Miss Susan. Here's where I was writing.
And you were doing the same thing, Justin.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm ashamed of both of you. You've got all the time in the world for jokes and sports, but none for education. Both of you will stay after school this afternoon and learn your grammar.
Hiya, Pop.
Hello, son. Say, where have you been? You were due home an hour and a half ago.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
I mean, Miss Susan kept Justin and me after school.
And why were you two young gentlemen the honored guests of Miss Anderson?
Well, it was her fault, Pop.
Oh? Her fault, huh? Well, how come?
Well, if she wasn't so dead set against sports, she wouldn't have cared so much.
Wouldn't have cared? About what?
Oh, she caught me in just drawing basketball plays.
I see. Tell me, son, how many times has Miss Susan kept you and Justin after school for the same thing?
Oh, a couple of times during baseball season, once during football, and this time.
4 times, huh? She seems dead set against you fellas having anything to do with sports, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know. Maybe it's because she's a cripple.
morning, Lou.
Good morning, Mel. How are you today?
In the pink, boy.
Good.
Say, did the big boss sign the quarterly statement last night?
No, he said he'd do it first thing this morning. He liked your accounting summaries, Mel.
Well, that's fine. Say, something I wanted to talk to you about. Peter didn't come home from school until after I got home last night, and I was wondering if...
Is that right? Well, the same with my boy. Say, Mel, what do you think about their teacher, that Anderson girl?
I don't know what to think, Lou. If she's so prejudiced about sports, and I'm beginning to think she is, then she isn't the one to teach my son. To me, athletics is a vital part of education.
I'll say it is. It teaches coordination, teamwork, sportsmanship, and develops a competitive spirit that all youngsters need.
Right. The upshot of it is, if Miss Anderson is going to give the youngsters a bad time whenever she catches them not doing the 3 R's, then I'm going to see that a change is made.
Just what I was thinking, Mel. Seems to me she fails to realize that figuring out plays takes brain work and ingenuity, too. The next time this happens, I've made up my mind I'm going to read her the riot act.
Well, I'll go along with that. You know what, Lou?
No.
My kid says she's dead against sports just because she's crippled.
Gather up your books and papers, class. It's time to go home. Oh, Peter and Justin, you will stay after class. The rest of you are dismissed. Peter, Justin, I'm keeping you behind for just one reason. I'm afraid you're not going to pass into the next grade unless you settle down and do your schoolwork. And to do that, you'll have to forget about sports, at least a while.
My dad says that sports are what counts, not book learning.
Now, I'm sure you misunderstood your father, Justin.
No, he didn't, Miss Susan. My pop feels the same way. He says that athletics make you keen and sharp, makes you think. You gotta learn sportsmanship and teamwork from sports.
Well, I'd agree with that. And I can appreciate how your father feels, since both of them, were great in athletics in their day.
You said it, Miss Susan. My dad was the greatest fullback State ever had.
And my pop was the best trackman State ever saw. He could run like the wind.
But the primary reason that you're in school is not to learn sports, but to receive a basic education. And to get that, you've got to knuckle down to your schoolwork. If you don't, then I'm afraid I can't pass you to the next grade.
You're always picking on Just and me. Just because we can't answer some silly old questions about history or something.
Peter, believe me, I'm not picking on you two. Now let that be understood. All I'm asking is that you give up sports for a while and pass your examinations. Now, is that asking too much?
You don't pick on the other kids like you do us. When I get home, I'm going to tell my dad about this. He'll tell you off.
Yeah, so will my pop.
You just don't like to see anybody have fun because you're crippled.
Tell your father. I'll be glad to talk to them at any time.
We will. Don't worry about that.
We'll be able to take the horses on the trail until spring.
Yeah, you're right there, old-timer.
Yeah, snow's getting pretty deep in most places. One more blizzard ought to tie things up pretty good.
We get plenty more snow soon. It's no joke then.
Hey, there's Beaver Creek School ahead.
Looks like a couple of the boys we kept after.
Yeah. Hey, look at them take off for home.
Just like a couple of antelope being chased by a mountain lion. Look at them go. Look at this split.
Hey, look at school chimney.
Hey, that could catch the roof on fire.
Hey, we better get down there and fix that stove, or we'll have a fire on our hand.
Come on,
Norm. Come on.
Bill, Stumpy, by Henry and Grey Wolf. Come on in.
Hello, Susan. You're late today, aren't you?
Yes, I had a lot of papers to mark, so I thought I'd stay and finish them. I have to prepare my Sunday school lesson this evening.
Take a look at the stove, will you, fellas?
Okay, Bill.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the stove, Bill. I just banged it.
Well, we saw quite a few sparks flying out of the chimney as we rode up, so we thought it best to look in before the roof catches fire.
Sparks? Well, what do you think caused that, Bill?
Oh, I don't know yet. How's it look, fellas?
Looks okay, Bill.
Yeah.
Probably needs the chimney cleaned out. That's cheaper than having to buy a new building.
Well, I'll phone Mr. Winters this evening and tell him. Well, do you think it'll be safe overnight, Bill?
Oh, I think so. We'll bank it heavily for you. That should do it.
Well, more company.
Yes, but these two fellas don't look too happy, Susan.
And I think I know why. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Miss Anderson.
Good afternoon. I'm Louis Alexander, Justin's father. Miss Susan, this is Melvin Kloss, Peter's father.
I'm glad to make your acquaintance. Excuse me, Bill.
Certainly.
And now, won't you gentlemen sit down?
No, thank you. We won't be here that long.
Oh, I wonder if I can be of any help to you.
Miss Anderson, if we understand correctly, you won't pass our sons to the next grade because they're spending too much time on sports.
That's hardly the reason, gentlemen. The true reason is that in fairness to the other children, I can't pass your sons if they don't meet the academic requirements.
Which means?
That they've got to knuckle down to the 3 R's and learn something. Now, all they seem to know or care to know is baseball and football and basketball and a dozen other sports.
You wouldn't say that was wrong, would you?
Yes, when it interferes with their basic education. Don't you agree?
The question is, when does it interfere? And that's where our opinions differ. Now you listen to me, young lady. My son has plenty of time to get the education he needs, but just now athletics are vital.
And more important than reading, writing, and arithmetic, Mr. Alexander?
Well, you can stress that more than it's worth. I'd have you know my son is a fine sportsman. He's fair-minded and knows teamwork. You can't get that out of books, Miss Anderson.
That's right. It's become more and more evident, Miss Anderson, that the standards are not what they used to be.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Bill, let me handle this.
And the reason is that you're simply dead set against any athletic program.
Now, that is not true. I think, gentlemen,
It's
if you...
too late now to alibi, Miss Anderson. We're going to the school board and ask for your dismissal.
Well, that is your prerogative, of course.
Just how much of a factor your own personal handicap is in this matter, you be the judge.
Of all the prejudice and misunderstanding I've ever heard of, that takes the cake.
Why, they didn't even give you a chance to get your mouth open, Miss Anderson.
Oh, it doesn't matter, Henry. I'm sure that nothing will come of it. Oh, both these fathers are intelligent men. It's simply a misunderstanding, that's all.
Well, I hope so. We'll see you Sunday morning, Susan.
Oh, yes, Sunday school. Yes, I'll be there. Bye.
Bye, Susan.
So long, Miss Anderson. What are you thinking about, Bill?
I can tell you. He's thinking about Mel and Lou and how angry they were. Ain't that right, Sonny?
Yes, old-timer, you're right. Those two weren't just giving Susan a piece of their mind. They meant what they said.
I watched their faces. I think you're right, Bill.
Well, there isn't much we can do about it, is there, Bill?
No, pal, there isn't. But I know one way I'll be able to tell if this will blow over like a loud storm.
All that, Bill.
Both Peter and Justin are in my Sunday school class. If they're on the warpath Sunday morning, I'll know their fathers intend to start something. Help us to love your son more and to learn to walk closer to him. Bless our studies together as we open our Bibles and you speak to us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Yeah, well.
Now, this morning, fellas, we're going to continue studying the Gospel according to Mark. Last week, our lesson was about the rich young ruler who came to Jesus. Today, Peter, Justin,
We're in Mark, the 10th chapter, and the 17th verse.
Oh, go ahead, Bill. We're listening.
Yeah.
Here was a young fellow who came to the Lord and wanted to know what he had to do to find eternal life. And the Lord Jesus asked him what he had done to deserve eternal life.
Sports and everything else. Well, she turned to him and she says, well, listen, Anna.
Shut up, Just.
Huh?
I don't think this is the place nor the time to discuss your outside problems, fellas. You came to Sunday school to learn about the Lord, not to talk to your friends about the week's events.
Well, this is important, Bill.
More important than what the Lord has to say to us, Justin?
Well, I guess not. But this is important.
Then after class, you can discuss it all you want. Right now, this lesson is the important thing.
You're as bad as Miss Susan.
Sure, all teachers are the same. They like to take all the fun out of life.
If you two fellas think I'm not doing the right thing, you can leave the class, so the rest of us may study the Gospel of Mark. Well?
We don't want to leave, Bill. We'll listen.
Yeah.
That's fine, Peter. Justin, I'm glad for that. Now let's continue.
Bill Jefferson caught us talking about Miss Susan and bawled us out, Pop.
He did, huh? He was at the school with the rest of his rangers when Lou and I headed out with your teacher. I suppose he's taking her side. Well, if he wants a fight, he'll get it. Lou, I think we ought to get a petition up to the school board asking for Miss Susan's removal.
A good idea. Let's get it started. And push it for all we're worth.
That's the story, Mr. Hazard.
Well, if she's that set against athletics, then she's too prejudiced to teach my children. Sure, I'll sign the petition.
Well, my daughter told me what's going on. If the teacher's that bad, she should get the axe.
Lou, stop at my home. I want to sign that petition.
I agree with you all the way, Lou. Bring that piece of paper around.
Well, look at all the signatures we've got.
And how? When the school board sees this, they'll wake up and get a good teacher.
Have you fellas heard the news?
We sure have, young feller. We saw what people won't do when they don't use their heads.
This plenty bad. Whole countryside in turmoil over this.
Yes, and the signatures. Look at them. How could they do it?
Boy, what'll we do, Bill?
The only thing we can do is to try and clear up this misunderstanding and prejudice.
Yeah, it's simple, but how you aim to do that, Sonny?
That's plenty big order, Bill.
I wonder when the school board's going to meet to consider this petition. Any of you heard?
Not I.
No.
I'm going to call Lance Fetrick and find out. I want to attend that meeting.
The meeting will come to order. Order, please. This special meeting of the Knotty Pines School Board has been called to hear a petition to remove Miss Susan Anderson as teacher from Beaver Creek School. The secretary of the board will read the petition.
We, the undersigned, hereby demand that the teacher of Beaver Creek School be removed from her job and be replaced by one more competent.
That's right.
This teacher, Miss Anderson, has displayed a gross disinterest in sports and athletics of any kind, and has openly attacked several pupils because they've shown an interest in the same. The undersigned hereby state that this is an unhealthy educational atmosphere, and that said, Miss Susan Anderson shows great prejudice on this subject. It is hereby demanded that her resignation be obtained at once. This petition is signed by 40 persons directly involved in the above and recipients of the effects of the stated charges against this teacher.
There are 50 registered students at the Beaver Creek School. The names of 40 heads of families appear on this petition. I must say that I did not ask Miss Susan to attend this hearing because I thought it best. We can speak freely at this time, and the board will make its decision after discussion. That is, if any discussion is necessary.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jefferson.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jefferson has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I challenge your acknowledgement of Bill Jefferson since he's not a parent of any of the Beaver Creek school children. In fact, he's not a parent at all.
Your challenge is overruled, Mr. Claus. You have the floor, Bill.
Thank you, Lance. For Mel's information, I am an interested party. Not only because I was privileged to have a part in raising a boy who attended this school for years, but also because I heard Mel read the riot act personally to Miss Anderson before it ever came to the school board. I move that this meeting be adjourned until it can be held with Miss Anderson present. We ought not to condemn anyone without granting that one the privilege of a defense.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Mr. Chairman, apparently Mr. Jefferson is in sympathy with prejudiced teachers.
I don't condone prejudice in teachers any more than I do in parents, Lou. I want to see a good teacher get a chance to defend herself. If, in the face of that defense, the petition still holds good, that's another matter.
Why don't you keep your nose out of this, Jefferson? The charges will stick whether she's here or not.
That's right.
Call a meeting in her presence if you want to. I'm not afraid to face her with a question.
Then will you second the motion that's on the floor?
Sure. I'll second the motion, Lance.
You've heard the motion and the second. Are you ready for the question?
Ask the question.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The motion is carried.
Bill, I'm awfully grateful for what you did at the meeting. I wanted to be there, but a substitute teacher wasn't available, and of course I had no authority to close school.
Well, you don't need to thank me, Susan. I was only doing what's right.
Bill, I'm afraid that they've built up a case against me, and nothing I can say will change it.
You don't mean you're ready to quit?
No, I guess not, Bill. Only I'm getting awfully weary fighting this prejudice.
Well, just keep your chin up, Susan. Trust the Lord completely, and He'll see that everything works out the way He wants it to.
I will, Bill. I honestly mean that.
Fine. By the way, what college did you attend, Susan?
Oh, state normal. Why?
Oh, just wondered. I'll see you Saturday morning. I hope everything turns out all right.
The meeting will come to order. Miss Anderson, I sent you a personal copy of the charges listed in the petition, which no doubt you've read. Can you and are you willing to protest them here before this gathering?
I can, and I will.
First of all, are these charges true?
No, they are not.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Claus.
I would like to ask this teacher some questions.
Proceed.
Miss Anderson, you say that these charges are not true. Is that right?
They're not only groundless, but absurd as well.
Did you not verbally attack my son and Justin Alexander on 4 different occasions because they were preparing sports plays?
I did.
Did you not refuse to pass my son and Justin Alexander to the next grade because they put too much emphasis on sports?
I did.
Bill, she's hanging herself.
I don't think so, pal. Let's see what happened.
I have no further questions, Lance.
I would like to know why you did these things, Miss Anderson.
Would you pass a student or students who drew sports plays during recitation hours and who couldn't say or wouldn't even try to learn their multiplication tables, Mr. Fettrick?
I would not.
She hit him on the nose with that punch.
Ask her why she never allows sports during school hours, and she won't take part in games with the children.
Do you care to answer that, Miss Susan?
Well, we can't have sports during the school hours because Beaver Creek School hasn't the facilities for such activities. And as to why I don't take part in games with the children, well, probably you can...
Excuse me, Susan. Lance, may I have the floor? This is important.
Yes, Bill. Go ahead.
Thank you. Folks, regarding these charges against Miss Anderson, I have 2 letters here I want to read to you. The first is by the Dean of Women, Miss Olive A. Beach, at State Teachers College. Dear Mr. Jefferson, she writes, you ask me concerning Miss Susan Anderson and her interest in sports. Miss Anderson held top scholastic honors while enrolled in this institution. Besides this, Susan obtained 3 letters in athletics. These were for swimming, tennis, and track. Most notable were her accomplishments in swimming because she set several new records, 2 of which are still unbeaten. I hope this information will be most satisfactory for your needs. Sincerely yours, Olive A. Beach, Dean of Women, State Teachers College.
Bill, you shouldn't have done it.
Now, folks, let me read the second letter, and I'll withhold the name until the end. Dear Mr. Jefferson, I was a lad 15 years old when my life was saved by a girl. I was trying to navigate a canoe down the Shady River when it was swollen by the spring rains. As I came into the rapids just before Dead Man's Gorge, my canoe smashed on the rocks of the rapids. This girl was picnicking along the riverbank with some friends, and she saw the danger I was in, dove into the river after me, and pulled me out. She saved my life. In the rescue, she was smashed several times against the rocks by the vicious current. One of those blows broke her ankle, but it didn't stop her from rescuing me. I will always be grateful for the courage of this girl, who still bears the mark of her bravery, Susan Anderson. Sincerely yours, Thomas R. Winthrop, Mayor of Stocktown. You say Susan Anderson has no sympathy for sports? And you ask why she doesn't take part in games with the children? These letters give the reason.
Is there anyone else who would like the floor?
Yes, I would like the floor just to make a public apology to Miss Anderson.
And I want to apologize, too, and say 3 cheers for Susan Anderson.
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
And there, boys and girls, was the story of how the record was set straight. See you next week for more adventure with
Ranger Bill!
of the Woodland. Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, showing rare courage in the face of disaster. In the air. On horseback. Or in a screaming squad car. Ranger Bill, his mind alert, a ready smile, unswerving, loyal to his mission. And all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done.
There's something about a police officer pounding a beat at night that gives everyone a real sense of security. He walks along in the dark with his lead-weighted nightstick dangling readily from his hand, while he stops here and there to check locked doors to make sure they're doing their job. Every once in a while, he flashes his light into some dark corner to make sure that only the dark of night is there. The officer on the beat also watches homes to make sure there's no suspicious smoke coming out or people trying to break in. And then he's an awfully nice fellow to meet if you're walking home late at night. Now, in Knotty Pine, there isn't much in the way of excitement on the night beat, but Officers O'Rourke and Ryan walk their beats just as carefully. Let's find out what happens on this night in the story, River of Fire.
Come on, Patrick, this is the halfway mark on the bridge, me boy. And the rule book says you gotta walk to the half mark.
Ryan, you're a hard man. It's too bad you ever learned to read. You'll drive me to retiring by reciting that rule book every time you look me squarely in the eye.
Come on, Patrick, me boy, you can make it if you try.
Oh. All right. Are you happy now? I'm sure glad you never made sergeant.
Say, Ian, what's the matter with your nose? It's jumping around like a rabbit.
Don't you smell it?
Smell what?
Fuel oil.
Well, certainly I smell it. Do you think me nose is stopped up? It's coming from one of them barges tied along the dock upstream.
I tell you, that smells strong.
Sure, and so's the breeze, Flatfoot. You're standing downwind of the barge.
Maybe you're right for once in your life.
Did you ever know the time I wasn't? Take it easy, Patrick, me boy, on your next round.
You too, Ryan. Yeah, and don't try to be a hero if you spot something. Use your whistle or phone for a squad.
Remember that for yourself, and stop smelling so good.
Sure, now me aching feet give me more trouble than me nose.
Two warm-hearted Irish policemen having a bit of chin music at the end of their beat before they start back. Let's follow Pat as he slowly walks along, giving everything the once-over. Wait a minute. Pat stopped. Has he seen something he doesn't like? No, he's just standing there. Now he's turning back. Pat's walking quickly now, back toward the river. Something's on his mind. Something's disturbing him. He's not letting it go by as a passing thought. Let's follow Pat as he heads back toward the bridge.
Ryan, what are you doing back here?
Now, I might be asking you the same thing, O'Rourke.
You got the river on your mind, too?
Aye, that I have. Let's go down and have a look.
Come on.
Here, watch it. Watch your step. It's darkened down. Here, careful.
Yeah, flash your light on the water. The fuel oil smell is as strong as day-old fish.
I'll have to agree with that.
What? The river's covered with oil.
Aye, and that it is, me lad. The whole thing is covered. One of those barges must be leaking.
Let's have a look.
O'Rourke, these aren't oil barges. Where's the stuff coming from?
Now, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be worth $1 million right now. It's coming from up the river, sure as I'm standing here.
The pipeline's over the river.
You don't suppose it sprung a leak, do you?
Where else could it come from? Let's pull the box over there and get the boys hot on it.
Come on, Ryan. We've got to sound the alarm. One spark and this'll be a river of fire.
Hello, Bill.
Hello, Cal. What's all the excitement about?
Yeah, this is a fine time to be getting people out of bed.
That's the way I felt until Pat and Ryan showed me that river.
Well, let's take a look.
Well, it's about time the top ranger got here.
Hello, Pat. Hello, Ryan.
Top of the morning to you, Bill. Yeah, that's what it is. The top of the morning or the bottom of the night. I'm not sure which.
Now, there's a youngster for you. Full of fire no matter how little sleep. Say, Bill, can you smell it?
I'll say I can. Fuel oil. How bad is it?
Take a look across the river. You follow the beam of my flashlight. There's a regular blanket of the stuff floating on top of the water.
It must be a couple of inches thick.
You said it, pal. Have you found out where it's coming from?
No, not yet. Pat and Ryan think it might be coming from the pipeline where it's bridged across the river. It isn't leaking in town.
You're probably right. Come on, pal, let's pick up Stumpy and Grey Wolf and take a look at the pipeline bridge.
Yes, sir. I'll have the fire engines flood the river with water and try to disperse this stuff down rapidly.
Right. You better send cars around informing the people of the danger, even though you'll wake them out of a sound sleep. Make sure there isn't any fire of any kind nearby.
What are you going to do about that fire way over yonder?
Huh? Where?
The lightning. Looks like a storm coming on.
And how? We've got to try and get that leak stopped before the storm gets here. All right, let's go.
Attention, please. Attention, please. The river is covered with fuel oil and the situation is very dangerous. You can help by staying in your homes until this emergency is over. Please do not go down to the river to sightsee. It's too dangerous. And you'll only be in the way of the firemen who are trying to disperse the oil downstream. This is the sheriff speaking. If you refuse to cooperate, I'll have to ask the governor to establish martial law and to send troops into town to keep you home. Please cooperate, and this won't be necessary. Thank you. Knotty Pine Dispatcher calling Junction City. Knotty Pine Dispatcher calling Junction City. Come in. Over.
Junction City Police. What's up, Knotty Pine?
We've got a river covered with fuel oil, and it's moving your way. Knotty Pine Sheriff wishes you to notify Central City.
Say, you fellows got your hands full. What's leaking?
We think it's the pipeline.
Man, that's not good. I'll pass the word to the Central City Police. Thanks for the warning.
I reckon there's more than just a leak in that pipeline, Sonny. Must be a pretty good-sized hole in it for all that oil to get out.
I think same thing.
I guess we all are thinking the same thing, fellas. What bothers me is what they've got in that line.
What do you mean? What they've got in it? Isn't it all oil?
Not this pipeline, pal. This is a freight line.
You mean they send batches of different stuff through that line instead of only one kind of fluid?
Right.
How do they pull off that stunt?
It's a matter of chemistry. They know which liquids won't mix. Like they can put a load of ethyl gas between 2 loads of regular gas.
Sulfur and catfish. You mean they pump automobile gas through that line?
Yep, they sure do, pal.
That's a smart trick. How they know where one can begin and end in pipeline.
They put a mass of radioactive substance in between each load. And by using Geiger counters, they can tell when a load begins and ends.
Well, how do you like that for a fancy dangle contraption?
You speak truth. That company can send a lot of different liquids through line.
That's what has me worried. What's next in line after the fuel oil?
10 seconds and you're on.
Good morning, everyone. This is Scotty Logan with the 5 o'clock news. This early morning, I'm sure there are more listeners than usual, and this isn't the cheery morning we'd like it to be. Here's our sheriff to speak to you about the emergency situation of the flood of fuel oil on the river. Here's Sheriff Harper.
Thank you, Scotty. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Jefferson and the Rangers are trying to locate the source of this fuel leak. I haven't heard from them yet, but I expect to at any time. I want everyone to be calm and to stay at home just as you've been doing. Those of you who have to cross the river to get to your jobs will have to do it on foot, and only across the Main Street Bridge, and only if conditions permit. If we feel dangers increase, the bridge will have to be closed to everyone. I wish to thank you for your wonderful cooperation by staying at home. It's made our job much easier. And again, I urge you not to become panicky even in the face of the oncoming storm. The fire department is rapidly dispersing the oil as it comes downstream, and our fire chief feels that the danger point has been reduced considerably. Thank you.
Henry, throw the spotlight along the bridge.
Right. There it is! Look at the oil spilling out!
There's a big hole in pipe, all right. Maybe a bridge sway too much from wind.
I don't know, but I'm calling the pipeline company right now. Look at Malcolm Gray and his men up here on the double.
All right. Keep your shirt on. Malcolm Gray speaking.
Mal, Bill Jefferson. You got a busted pipeline.
No, where?
I'm at the bridge over the Shady River, watching the fuel oil spill out by the hundreds of gallons.
Is there room to land a helicopter close by?
Yeah, plenty of room.
Well, I'll be there with a crew in 20 minutes.
Cal, the company men are in the air now, flying here from Canyon City. That's about all I can tell you right now, except the stuff is spilling out like crazy.
That's fast work, Bill.
How are things in Knotty Pine?
Wonderfully quiet. Everyone's doing his best to stay cool and calm. The fire boys are pumping water into the river as fast as they can.
Fine, Cal, that's fine. I'll call you as soon as I know more. Over and out.
Here come pipeline men now.
Yes, sirree! None too soon. That storm's beginning to kick up an awful fuss.
The wind's sure tossing that copter around.
Sweeney, get your men out there fast. There isn't a minute to lose.
Yes, sir. Let's go, boys.
Let's go. Hello, men.
Come on.
Hi.
Hello, Mal.
Howdy! Say, sure looks like a kind of risky business out there.
You're right there, old-timer. Bill, may I use your radio?
Sure, help yourself.
Thanks. QXBC-3, this is JMNX-1. QXBC, this is JMNX-1. Over.
This is QXBC. Come in, boss.
Cut off the line immediately, Fritz.
Sure, boss. What's up?
I'll tell you after you close the valve. Do it now. I'll wait.
Right. Be back in a minute.
Come on, hurry. Come on.
Hello, Mal? Are you there? Mal? The valve's closed. What's up?
The line is split open on the bridge.
Oh, no. That's bad.
I'm afraid to ask you, but I've got to know. What's the load behind the fuel oil?
I think I know, but let me check the manifest to make sure. I don't want to scare the pants off you for nothing.
Hurry up.
Mal, it's mixture coded 107.
No. Are you positive?
I'm looking right at the manifest, Mal. If it were cow's milk, I might joke about it. But not 107.
Okay, Fritz. Now don't open that valve for anyone or anything. You understand? Sweeney, what are you doing back here? Get out there and fix that hole.
Well, boss, we can't work out there. The wind's too strong.
Get out there. Don't tell me what you can and can't do.
But, Mel, we've got all we can do to hang on. We can't repair that leak now. It's 500 feet to the bottom of that gorge.
What kind of man are you? Get out there or I'll know the reason why.
What's the matter with you? We might get killed.
That's too bad, but it's part of your job. Or maybe you figure the Rangers should do your work, huh? Now get out on that bridge and fix that leak.
Oh, all right, we'll try it. But I'm not making any promises.
Get out there, do you hear? Stop blabbing and get out there. Bill, I'm going to talk to Fritz again.
Okay, Mal. Use the radio all you want.
Thanks.
Boy, is he up bundling nerves all of a sudden like...
You said it, Sonny. I smell a rat in the woodpile.
I think same thing. He changed like wind after he talked to Valve Station.
You fellas are pretty sharp. Pretty sharp.
What do you think's wrong?
I don't know. I'm waiting for Mal to tell us.
Maybe he'll wait until it's too late.
I hope not. Here come Sweeney and his men crawling back on bridge.
And they're hanging on for dear life.
We ain't going back out there till this thing blows over. Trying to plug that hole in this storm is like trying to walk a tight wire on a one-wheel bike.
Are you telling me what you're going to do?
Yes, and if you don't like it, you can jump in the river.
I ought to punch you in the nose, you coward, and that goes for your men, too.
Let's make him go out there if he's so smart, huh? No, I think we ought to throw him in the river. Come on, start swinging if you think you're man enough to lick me. You used to be a good boss until just a few minutes ago. And this thing's got you scared stiff.
You mind your own business. Now you get out there or you're fired.
Wait a minute, Mal.
Now you keep your nose out of this, Bill. It's none of your business.
That's where you're wrong. I'm top man here. This is government property, remember? Come on in the car. I want to talk to you.
You aren't telling me what to do.
Get in the car and make it snappy. We haven't got time to stand around and argue.
Sweeney, you and your men take it easy. There's something wrong here.
You can say that again, Ranger. I ain't looking for no fight. But I ain't taking any more abuse either.
Bill, get Mal straightened out.
All right, let's have it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, Mal, don't play ring around the rosy with me. You changed like night from day right after you talked to the valve station. What's in the pipeline behind the fuel oil?
The next load is aviation gasoline.
Aviation gas?
Yes, 50,000 gallons of it.
If the lightning hits that stuff, the whole county's going up.
Bill, I'm almost to the point of nervous collapse. That pipeline comes down to the river in a long incline. I don't know how to stop that stuff. It just keeps draining out.
I do.
Well, how?
We've got to cut the pipe open on the other side of the bridge and let the gas run on the ground.
Yeah, that would do it.
Come on. We got work to do.
You talk to Sweeney. I'm ready to jump out of my skin just thinking what could happen if that stuff spills into the river.
Okay. Sweeney, gather your boys around.
Okay. Come on, boys.
Let's go. Let's get this thing out of the way, huh?
Your boss is on the point of nervous collapse, so I'm taking over. Mal called the valve station and found out there's a load of aviation gas in the line behind the fuel oil.
Aviation gas?
That's right. Now there's only one thing to do to save us from a catastrophe. We've got to open the pipe on the other side and let the stuff run out on the ground.
That means we've got to cross the river.
That's right.
Can't we go around?
It'll take too long to go around. Come on now, I'll lead the way. Henry, you stay here and man the radio. But that's an order.
Yes, sir.
Inform the sheriff what's going on. You and the copter pilot keep a close eye on us. You may have to pull us out if the lightning touches off the gas.
Why can't we use the copter to cross?
Too many dangerous wind currents over there in those canyons. We'll save the copter for emergency. Real emergency.
Let's go!
Every last one of us was in extreme danger crossing the pipeline bridge over the shady river. One misstep on the narrow catwalk, it would be all over. They might find our bodies down in Dead Man's Gorge, or they might never find us. The wind howled an angry gale and tried to tear each man off the catwalk and throw him into the river. I wasn't worried about the bridge itself going out, even though it swayed like a rope. It was engineered for that. My big worry was getting the men across. And the electrical part of the storm hit us. The lightning played about us wickedly, one flash after another, so that I could have read a newspaper by it. I decided to hang onto a brace cable and let the men pass me, so I could bring up the rear. That would leave me on the bridge longer. I didn't want anyone to panic and lose his life. I tried to encourage them as they inched their way along.
Keep going! Hang on, it isn't far now! Go slow, men! You're doing fine!
It was a grim sight, watching the men crawl across the bridge in the eerie lightning flashes. I prayed that all would make it, safe and sound.
They won't make it. They'll be killed. Look at that lightning. They won't make it, I tell you. Oh, why did I ever let them go? That gas will catch fire and kill them all. Burn them to a crisp.
Now, keep quiet!
Can't you see them now, screaming and yelling and burning gas? Nobody to help them. I'm going to rescue them. I'm going to rescue them. They'll die. They'll die screaming with pain.
Now, come back here! Okay, boy, you asked for it! Sorry, Mal. Sorry I had to tackle you. I couldn't let you kill yourself either. Henry Scott to Sheriff 1 at Knotty Pine. Henry Scott to Sheriff 1 at Knotty Pine. Come in, over.
Sheriff 1 to Henry Scott, over.
Cal, send an ambulance right away. I just had to tackle Mal, throw him on the ground. Knocked him out. He was going off his rocker with worry. He was going to go out there on the bridge.
Is it that bad up there?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
What about the pipeline? Where's Bill?
Bill's leading the men across the bridge to try and cut that pipe open on the other side. Let the gas run out on the ground.
Gas?
Yes. Aviation gas.
We'd better get together on this end and pray for those guys. They'll need all the help they can get.
Charlie, get that torch away from here. Want to kill us?
How long, Sweeney?
There's a small hole now, Bill. Maybe 10 minutes. We'll have it split in two.
Can't wait that long.
You'll have to. We ain't miracle men, you know. It's time to cut through steel. Like opening a can of soup, you know.
Get your men out and back.
Are you cracking too? First you say cut faster, and now you say stop cutting.
You see those rocks up on that ledge?
Yeah?
Will they open the pipe if they're dropped on it?
Like a watermelon dropped off a truck.
Okay, get your men out. You too, Stumpy, Grey Wolf.
But if the gas is coming through the line when the rocks hit, we won't find you after it's over.
I'm not asking you to risk your life, am I?
No, sir. I get you. Come on, boys, clear out.
I go with you, Bill.
You heard me, and that's an order. Get out of here, scram! I climbed rapidly up to the top of the ridge. That is, as rapidly as I could in the early morning darkness. Now I was glad for the savage lightning, because it helped me see where I was going. I thought of all the people and property along the river for 100 miles would be in danger if the gas got loose on the river. What a blazing inferno that would be. Finally, I made it to the top of the ridge. I stopped for a second, looked the rocks over with the help of the lightning, and I saw the key rock that would start the slide to crush the pipe. Put my muscle to work. The rock began to move. Finally, I pushed it over. It went crashing down, taking more and more rocks with it. Now I went. Where's the gasoline in the pipeline? Suddenly I realized I was holding my breath, waiting for the explosion of the deadly gas. But it didn't come. Then I smelled it. The gas, that is. The rocks had smashed the pipe seconds before the first of the gas got there. I was still alive.
That sure is a pretty sound. Look at the rocks in the ground. Soak up that gas.
We'd never have made it if you hadn't pushed them rocks down, Bill. You got a lot of courage, man.
We all wait for explosion and breathe again after it not come.
I did too, Grey Wolf. Thank the Lord there won't be a river of fire. Little did O'Rourke and Ryan realize how important their keen sense of impending danger was. The whole Shady River Valley was saved from a most disastrous holocaust. Well, see you next week for more adventure with
Ranger Bill!
Ranger Bill, warrior of the Woodland.
Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done. Say, do you have a dog? If you do, you love him, don't you? Well, this is the story of a great dog who lived on a ranch near Knotty Pine. His name was Bim. Bim's masters were Otto Jorgensen and his two sons, Eric and Paul. Now, Bim was a very unusual dog, yet he wasn't any different from your dog in lots of ways. His love and devotion to his masters were boundless. Bim is gone now. That great dog heart is still. Those who love his memory are gathered in the lobby of the newly built Memorial Clinic for Animals. All of the rangers are there, and Bill is the master of ceremonies for the dedication of this wonderful animal hospital. Let's join the crowd as they talk together.
Quite a crowd of folks gathering here. Almost fill the lobby, they do. Bim, great dog. Have many friends.
Well, I didn't realize so many people knew him.
Yes, Bim was quite a dog, all right. This animal hospital is a fitting memorial to him.
Oh, Bill, Otto's coming this way.
Oh, Guess he wants me to start.
Bill, will you begin the ceremony, please?
Why, sure, Otto. Folks, we're gathered here today to dedicate the Bim Memorial Clinic for Animals, a building that is more than brick and steel and concrete. This hospital is a memorial to a great dog that we all loved, and whose memory we'll cherish for a long, long time. The idea for this building originated with Otto Jorgensen and his two sons. They wanted this clinic to be a living token of their love and esteem for their dog. A good deal of the money came from folks like yourselves. This hospital and clinic was built for the study and treatment of animal diseases, so that the animals may enjoy a fuller and longer life. To the memory of Bim, a great dog, and his heroic deeds, we dedicate this building with all its equipment and staff. Also, so that no other animal will have to suffer the same slow and painful death, we dedicate the scientific research that will go on inside these walls. Thank you.
Mr. Jefferson, may I talk to you a minute?
Why, sure. What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm Ed Sloan. I'm a writer for Bencroft Newspapers and Dog Lovers Magazine.
I see.
We've a combined circulation of 500,000. I'd like to write the story of Bim's life, if I may. And I gather you're the one I ought to see.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Sloan, but that's not within my authority. You'll have to talk to Otto Jorgensen and his two sons. Perhaps they'll help you.
I understand. But I don't know Mr. Jorgensen.
I'd be glad to introduce you. They're over on the other side of the lobby, talking to some friends.
Well, Mr. Sloan, I don't know how well I can tell this story, but maybe Bill can help me out in a few places. First thing, I ought to say I wasn't too sold on Bim at first.
Oh, why not, Mr. Jorgensen?
Well, I'd always set my heart on owning a pedigree dog. Bim was just a gangly puppy. Good blood, but a mixture. Bim actually was rather a badly put-together mass of fur, big paws, and powerful body. I never thought he'd amount to much, to tell you the truth. How wrong I was. I'll never forget one day when Bim was about 6 months old. Paul and Eric was playing with Bim on the front lawn.
Come on, singing Bim. Get Eric. Come on, pull his ears off. Atta boy, come on, tease him around. Come on, pull his ears off. Atta boy, come on, let's go.
Paul, what in the name of common sense are you doing, playing with that hound on the front lawn?
That is,
What's got into you boys? Look at that lawn. And look at my flower beds. You let that mud run around in my prize flowers.
I'm sorry, Dad. It's our fault.
Ever since you've had that pooch, things ain't been the same around here. Well, I'm going to get rid of him.
Oh, no, Dad, please. Don't make us get rid of Bim.
Oh, all right. One more chance. But if this happens again, out he goes, understand? I was very angry at the time, but I saw no reason to change my opinion about Bim. But as time went on, gradually he grew out of the awkward stage. At 9 months, he began to show signs of becoming a powerful dog who could run like the wind. I was pleased, but I still didn't think he'd be much more than a pet for the boys. And I really didn't intend to make good my threat of throwing him out. I knew it would break the boy's heart. He was their dog. Well, the first in a series of outstanding acts of bravery and heroism occurred when Bim was 10 months old. Eric and Paul got the habit of taking Bim out on the range with them every spare moment they could find.
Let's see if we can find any more of those swell-colored rocks, Paul.
Okay, that's a good idea, Eric. What kind of rocks did Dad call them?
I don't know. Something like
quartz. Yeah, that's it. Hey, let's head for that ridge over there, huh?
Okay. I'll race you.
All right. Come on, Skeeter. Dig in, boy. Let's go. Come on.
Hey, what's Bim after anyway?
Oh, I don't know. He's probably seen a rabbit.
Hey, look at these rocks, Pa.
Say, those are the nicest we've found yet. You know, Eric, the Lord sure made rocks beautiful, didn't he?
And how? Hey, let's move this big rock over so we can get the smaller one out.
Okay. Say when.
No. That's good enough.
Now, let's get those...
Don't move, Pa. That rattler will strike just as quick as we move a muscle.
Yeah, you said it. Look at the size of him. Where'd he come from?
I don't know. Must have come out from behind the other big rock when we moved the smaller one.
Eric, looks like we're going to have to stand here all day.
Well, that's better than getting bit. He hasn't coiled yet. Maybe he'll go away.
Oh, yeah. He's crawling right at us. What'll we do?
Hey, Paul, look. The rattler's not after us.
Huh?
He sees something.
It's Bim. The rattler sees Bim. They're going to fight.
Okay, let's get back. Get going.
Kill it, Bim. Kill it. Come on.
Hope that snake doesn't bite our dog.
Oh, I never thought of that. He hasn't got Bim yet. Come on, Bim. Get him. Look. He's got him.
Hey, Bim's killed the rattler. Come here, boy.
Oh, boy. Good boy, Bim. Good boy. Atta boy.
Boy.
Hey, we've got to get home and tell Dad about
Well,
this.
you said it. Now maybe Dad will believe it. Bim's a real good dog.
Well, when Eric and Paul came home with a big yarn about Bim killing a big rattlesnake, I didn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that Bim had the courage and fight in him to tackle and kill a live rattler. I was at the corral when the boys came in and told me this whopper.
It's the truth, Dad. Bim did kill the rattler.
Come on now, fellas. I wasn't born yesterday. How could Bim kill a big rattler? Especially one as big as you say it was.
We can prove it, Dad.
All right, how?
We'll show him to you. We tied a rope to the rattler's tail and dragged him here.
How? This I gotta see.
Come on over to the horse barn, Dad. The rattler's outside on the ground.
Okay, let's go.
There, Dad. Take a look.
Yeah.
And Bim killed him all by himself.
Well, the boys had me where they wanted me. I examined the dead snake and could easily see where Bim's teeth had done their job right in back of the head. I was still pretty pig-headed about it all. I told the boys that Bim's killing the rattler was an isolated incident and he'd probably never do one thing else that was worthwhile.
You say that was the first big incident in Bim's life, Mr. Jorgensen?
Yes, it was, Mr. Sloan. The second incident followed 6 months later. Winter was close by, and I'd sent Paul out to round up some wild cattle. By wild cattle, I mean the cattle that leave the herd and shift for themselves during the grazing season.
Let's go up this canyon, Bim. Come on, boy. Yeah, there's a couple of wild ones, Bim. Let's get behind them and drive them out of there. Hiya, come on there. Come on, Skeeter. We can't let that maverick get away. It'll freeze out here this winter. Hiya, come on. Oh!
Paul was out like a light. His horse, Skeeter, had stepped onto a chuck hole and thrown Paul against the canyon wall.
The boy had a broken collarbone, a fractured shin bone, and he was very badly bruised and shaken up. Bim started licking his face and hands, and Paul slowly came to. He was crying from pain.
Oh, shoulder. Bim, I'm hurt bad. Bim, go find Skeeter. Oh, bring him back. Find Skeeter. Bring him back, boy. Go.
Bim left Paul and went after the horse. He picked up Skeeter's trail and soon caught up with him. Skeeter was over his initial scare now and was just browsing in the grass. Fortunately, the bridle straps was hanging down, and Bim took them in his teeth and obediently led the horse back to Paul.
Oh, good boy, Bim. Lay down, Skeeter. Lay down, big fella. Attaboy. Thanks, Skeeter. Now, hold still, boy. While I try to crawl across the saddle. Just a little bit farther. I made it. Up, Skeeter boy. Up. Oh!
In case you don't know, Mr. Sloan, it's rather a difficult job for a horse to get up with a rider on his back. And Paul was in such pain that he didn't realize he wasn't balanced properly across the saddle. So when he told Skeeter to get up, Paul fell off. Back home, Eric and I began to get worried when Paul and Bim didn't show up for supper. Got to be about 9 o'clock. Then I decided to do something.
Dad? What could have happened to him?
I don't know, Eric, but I'm going to find out.
Well, I'm glad Bim's with him anyway.
What good will Bim do if Paul's in serious trouble?
Don't talk that way, Dad. Bim's real special when you need him.
Sure,
You'll
see.
Son.
You saddle up the horses. I'm going to call Bill Jefferson.
You lead the way, Otto. We'll pick up the trail when we get into the area.
Okay, Bill.
If Grey Wolf and Stumpy can't find him, we can always get bloodhounds.
Yep.
Come on, Storm.
Get up.
There you go, boy.
Come on.
Is there enough light to see the trail, fellas?
Plenty light, Bill.
Oh, boy.
Trail very clear.
Oh, boy.
Come on, Matilda.
Get him
Come
up
on,
here.
Lord. Come on, boy. Come on, Storm.
Get up.
Let's go. Come on.
Come on.
Say, let's hold it up here. Whoa, Matilda. Whoa, Storm.
Whoa.
Well, sign's kind of messed up here, isn't it?
Can you make it out? Is this where they had the trouble?
What's it say, Grey Wolf?
This sign say horse and dog going to small canyon ahead. This sign say cattle, maybe half-dozen head, come out of canyon.
That fits. Paul and Bim was rounding up wild cattle.
Now over here, it says that horse come out again. And the dog come out.
Did they go back, or were they chasing the cattle?
Over here, Otto, Bill.
What'd you find, Grey Wolf?
See something different?
Look here. Dog walk in front of horse. They go back in canyon. I say dog lead horse back into canyon.
Well, I'll buy that, sonny. That means Paul and Bim are in that canyon, unless I missed my guess. You agree, Grey Wolf?
Stumpy right.
Then let's get into that canyon. Lay the light over the canyon floor, Grey Wolf. They should be close by now.
That's Skeeter, fellas. Throw your light to the left.
Hey, there they are! Come on, Matilda!
Let's go, Storm. Get up, boy.
Oh, McGinty!
Whoa, boy. Rattle. Look.
Look at that dog.
He covered Paul with his own body to keep him warm.
Afterward, Paul told us the whole story. Then I knew I had been wrong and the boys were right. We had a great dog in him, so I asked the boys to forgive me. From that time on, Bim and the boys and I became an inseparable foursome. Then the day came when the catastrophe at Pearl Harbor plunged us into World War II, and the boys came to me with a request.
Dad?
Mm-hmm.
Dad, we've been reading in the papers how the armed services need dogs.
That's right, Dad, and, well, we'd like to send Bim.
You want to send Bim to war?
Sure. We're too young to enlist ourselves, so...
And we want to do our part to help win the war.
Are you absolutely sure you want to do this, boys?
Yep. We thought about it a lot.
You will realize, of course, that Bim might be killed in action.
We've thought about that too, Dad, and...
Yes?
Well, a lot of soldiers might get killed, but then they might not, too.
That's right. Bim's really tough, Dad. We're sure he'll take care of himself.
So I thought, far be it from me to dampen the patriotism of my sons. I was proud of both of them the next morning when we walked into the recruiting station for the Marine Corps in Knotty Pine. In no time at all, Bim was in the service of our country. We said goodbye to Bim, and I'm not ashamed to say that, just like the boys, tears was rolling down my cheeks. Bill, you take over the story from here, will you? I think you can tell about Bim's war record better than I can.
All right, Otto. I sure appreciate your helping me, Mr. Jefferson. I don't want to leave a thing out of Bim's life.
Well, it so happened, Mr. Sloan, that I was with the 3rd Marines in Bougainville, same as Bim. I got the story firsthand from the fellas that had Bim with them. It was pretty rough going. A Company of the 1st Battalion was trying to flank the enemy, and they weren't having much success because they were pinned down by a Japanese machine gun nest set up in a pillbox, which the artillery just couldn't get.
Captain, we won't move another inch until we knock out that pillbox.
I'm well aware of that, Sergeant. Gotta be patient for a while. If we try to rush, we'll lose a lot of men.
But, sir, it's the only way we'll ever get past them. The artillery and the mortar shells bounce off that thing like water off a duck's back.
I know. That's why I've sent for Bim.
Oh? Hey, Bim will get him out of there if anything. And believe me, they'll think of screaming Mimi at him if Bim ever gets into that pillbox. Mm-hmm. Hey, here comes the corporal now with Bim.
Well, that's fine.
Corporal Ladowski reporting.
Good, Corporal. Bim, how are you, boy?
I hope this isn't too risky, sir. I wouldn't want Bim to get it.
Corporal, please don't get the idea that these dogs are out here for us to use, or we don't want to send in men. We use them only where they can be used to better advantage than men, see? They're not cannon fodder, understand?
Yes, sir.
Now look, you see the fire lane from here?
Yes, sir, I do.
Send Bim up the left side. We'll give him covering fire until he jumps for the window.
Yeah.
Then we'll cease fire and rush the pillbox.
Our prisoners are on their way back to the stockade, sir.
Very good, Sergeant. How's Bim?
He's wounded, sir.
What? Why didn't you tell me? Bim comes before the prisoners, don't you know that?
Take it easy, sir. Doc's looking at him now. The wound isn't bad, sir. He got knifed in the leg. Not bad.
Oh, okay. It's fine. In the leg, huh?
Yes, sir.
We'll see that he's carried to the rear on a stretcher. That's an order, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. It'll be done, sir. Even if I have to carry him myself.
That's the story of Bim's service with the Marines.
Thanks, Mr. Jefferson. Is there more, Mr. Jorgensen?
Yes, Mr. Sloan, there is. We received a telegram from the War Department saying that Bim had been wounded, though not seriously. Uncle Sam was sending him home. They also said that Bim would receive the Purple Heart. Bim recovered the full use of his leg, and in about 6 months you'd never know he'd been wounded.
I'll say you could, Mr. Sloan. He was as fast as he ever was.
But he sure grew up, though, while he was away. Seemed quieter, more serious.
That's right. Well, one day, a year after Bim came back from the war, I was dragging our road. We have a private road that leads from the highway to the house and barns. I had the tractor hitched to a weighted drag, and I was trying to even out the rough spots. I was alone. That is, except for Bim. He was playing around nearby somewhere. Well, I don't know exactly what happened to this day. All I knew was that suddenly the tractor overturned and I was pinned under it. Bim, help me. Bim, dig me out of here, will you? Good boy, Bim. That's right. Under my face first, so I can breathe easier. That's right. Under my body. Now see if I can... Yeah, that's it. Good boy. I'm almost clear. That's all right. You can scratch me if you want to. That's it. I'm coming out.
And you mean to tell me that your dog dug you right out from under that tractor?
Yes, Mr. Sloan. Amazing as it sounds, he not only dug the ground out from under my face so I could breathe, but he dug the ground out from under my chest and body. Enough for me to crawl painfully out, broken back and all.
That sounds unbelievable.
All of it was in the local newspapers.
What a dog he must have been. Would you care to tell me how he died?
Yes. About a year ago, we noticed that Bim was beginning to fail. Not too quickly at first, but noticeably. We took him to Dr. Crawford, a veterinarian here in Knotty Pine. Dr. Crawford examined him and said that Bim had a malignant tumor, and there wasn't anything we could do to save him. Just a matter of time. It was heartbreaking to watch a dog so full of life and courage as Bim was, slowly to waste away to skin and bones.
I'm sure it was a heartbreaking experience, Mr. Jorgensen.
Well, we watched him this way for 3 months. Finally, the boys spoke to me about it. I'm glad they did, because I wouldn't have spoken to them if they hadn't brought up the subject first. So, in the morning, the 3 of us went to Bim's bed to take him to Dr. Crawford. It was like visiting a sick and dying friend. Eric kneeled down to awaken him.
Bim. Come on, fella, wake up.
He hasn't moved a muscle. You don't suppose...
Let me see, Eric. Yes, boys. Bim's dead. We were glad we didn't have to take him to Dr. Crawford, though all of us were broken-hearted that we'd lost him. The men at the Knotty Pine Legion Post were only too happy to give Bim a military funeral, and we buried him in our front yard. I make no bones about saying that I cried like a baby. Here was a dog that had given us all he had, and when he needed our help, there wasn't a thing we could do except watch him die. Several months passed by, and I talked to Dr. Crawford. I offered to contribute a sum of money for an animal clinic and hospital if he would head it up. He agreed. Dr. Crawford and the local newspapers let the story out, and many, I should say a host, of Bim's friends and those who love dogs gave to the fund. The result, you see before you. Well, that's the story, Mr. Sloan.
I don't know if I'll be able to do justice to this story, Mr. Jorgensen, but I'm sure going to try my best.
Well, that's all we ask, Mr. Sloan. Before we leave, I'd like you to see the bronze tablet.
Yes, I'd like to.
Read it, will you, Bill?
In loving memory of our dog Bim. He loved and asked no love in return. He knew no selfishness except to duty. He knew no fear except that he hadn't done enough. He gave all he had and asked no recompense. This tablet is inscribed for all to read, realizing that Bim lived as we should live. The Jorgensens.
Boys and girls, the story you have heard is fictional, of course, so far as there actually being a dog named Bim is concerned. But all the incidents which have occurred in the story are true, for dogs actually performed the unusual and heroic deeds that were told to you today. Well, we'll see you next week for more adventure with
Ranger Bill!
Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done. Say, have you ever been in an automobile accident? They can be pretty frightening. And on the spur of the moment, you might even get scared enough to want to run away. Never run away from the scene of an accident, no matter how bad the accident is. Why? Well, listen to the story of two boys, Reuben and Smitty, who had an accident with their hot rod. Only by hard work and fast thinking did Bill Jefferson save them from the angry citizens of Big Pine. That's a village about halfway between Knotty Pine and Canyon City. Here's the story, Hit and Run.
Cut it down, Smitty. Gotta keep well within the limit.
Yeah, okay, Rube. You know, I don't know where folks get the idea that hot rod drivers are always speed demons.
Oh, that's because a couple of smart Alecks didn't use their heads. Going through town like a jet plane the way they did, and everybody's been sore ever since.
Well, I can't blame them exactly, can you?
No. Say, Smitty, we gotta put the strobe light on this thing when we get back to the garage. It must be out of time again.
Yeah, you're right. It seems to be missing at high speeds.
Watch out, the street's narrow here, Smitty.
What's the matter with you, Rube? Getting the jitters or something?
No. It's just that the folks in town are so dead set against us. We wouldn't stand a chance if anything should... Look out! Look out for that man!
I think I hit him, Rube.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, quick.
You mean run?
Sure.
Okay, here goes.
Cut
around him wide. That's right. Now take off.
Oh, Bill, how much farther we got?
Quite a ways, Ralph. Coming into Big Pine now.
That means we're halfway home.
Yep.
Gray Wolf and Stumpy are still sleeping. Guess I'll do the same. Hey, Bill, what's going on up here in the center of town?
I'm just wondering myself. Better wake up Stumpy and Gray Wolf. We'll find out.
Okay. Hey, Gray Wolf, Stumpy, come on, wake up. Come on, wake up.
Why we stop here, Ralph?
Well, something's going on in the street. Bill says we should take a look.
Hey, look at all the people.
Sounds like a riot started.
I'm not joking, Ralph. Lock the cars so no one can get our weapons. Come on, fellas, let's find out what this is all about.
Hey, they're the Rangers. Let them through.
Thanks for letting us through, folks. Where's Constable Gorman?
Right here, Bill.
Is he dead, Sid?
Yeah.
How'd it happen?
Well, I don't know, Bill. Some of the folks heard a car tearing down the street, and then they found poor old Sam here.
Yeah, it was one of those dirty hot rodders. That's what it was.
Well, get a blanket out of the car and cover the body, will ya?
Sure. Let me through, please.
Blanket won't do Sam any good. Why don't you go after those rats that did this?
Yeah, that's what
we gotta do.
Oh, look here, mister. We'll handle this our own way if you don't mind.
Guys.
Gray Wolf, Stumpy, let's clear the crowd off the street.
Not good idea. They only wipe out evidence when they walk around.
You haven't got enough Rangers to move us, mister.
There are 3 of us here and 1 at the radio car. That's enough. You seem to be the ringleader, mister, so I'm talking to you. You don't stop making trouble, I'll arrest you for inciting mob violence and obstructing the work of law enforcement officers. I'll get a move on.
Back it in, Smitty, before somebody sees us.
Yeah. What do you think I'm trying to do, Rube? Just so scared I can't see straight. Look out now.
Yeah, okay. Come on back.
Well, that's that. Close the doors, Rube.
Yeah, right away, Smitty.
Now, why don't you go home, Rube? I hit the guy, not you.
We're in this mess together, aren't we?
Boy, I sure don't know where that fella came from. All I know is suddenly he's right in front of the car, and boom.
I know. Let's stay here for a while and think what we should do.
I know what we shouldn't have done.
Yeah? What?
We shouldn't have run away.
Maybe you're right. And I'm the guy that told you to do it. But we wouldn't have had a chance with some of those hotheads in town. But it's too late to think of that now.
Is it?
Sure it is. If I could only calm down and do some straight thinking.
We've got to think straight. It's our only chance.
The ambulance will be here shortly, Bill.
Thanks, Sid.
Did you find out anything?
Yeah, some very interesting things.
As soon as they take old Sam away, we can go into my office and talk this over.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Sonny. Something mighty fishy about this here accident.
Huh? Well, it's a clear case of hit and run, ain't it?
Not the way we see it, it ain't.
Is that right, Bill?
Well, there are some very peculiar factors in the case, Sid, that you don't find in the ordinary hit and run.
I hope you can prove your point. There's some ugly rumors around that the citizens of Big Pine are going to take the law into their own hands.
Well, Smitty, I found out who the man was we hit.
Yeah?
Who is he? Sam Potter.
Sam Potter. Oh, no.
I found out something else.
What?
He's dead.
You mean it was our car?
Must have been. They found him dead on the street.
I can't figure it, Rube.
Neither can I, Smitty. But we killed him just the same.
Do you think we better give ourselves up?
Smitty, we can't do that. The townspeople would lynch us.
Well, Bill, how does the evidence stack up?
Let's start with the tire marks, Sid. We measured the short skid marks, and they tell us the car was going between 20 and 25 miles an hour.
20 miles? Mm-hmm. How could there be skid marks at that speed?
Well, the brakes were in excellent condition, and the driver slammed them on hard. The marks aren't prominent, but they're there just the same.
They're even more important point about skid. Tell him, Bill.
I'm just getting to that, Grey Wolf. Another reason the car skidded as it did is that the tires were bald. Makes skidding easier.
What kind of a car would have bald tires? It ain't safe for a regular car to have them.
But hot rod have bald tires in some cases.
Hot rod? That would make matters worse for whoever hit Sam.
What do you mean, Sid?
Why, a large portion of the population of Big Pine is made up of only half a dozen families. Intermarriage and so forth. Sam Potter was recognized as the leader in the town.
I see. That's why the folks here were so angry. I sensed more than just the usual anger and disgust over a hit-and-run case.
Not only that, Bill. These folks are very prejudiced against hot rods.
Most people are, Sid. It's the hot rodder's own fault.
Well, we just got to keep ahead of them, that's all, and ask for patience.
How do we do that, Bill?
By finding the driver of that car before they do.
Where we start to find driver, Bill?
Well, the first thing I want to do is take Sam's outer clothing to the lab and have them gone over for paint fragments. Grey Wolf, you and Ralph get a list of all the lads who own or drive hot rods. And Stumpy, you stay here and help Sid keep things under control.
Say, Stumpy, let's stop in here at Ben's store and have a cup of coffee. A lot of the folks just sit around there and talk.
Yeah, that's for us, Sid. Maybe we can get an idea what they're thinking about in this here accident. Yeah, seems to be quite a crowd in the store.
Yeah, and I don't like it.
Well, Sonny, let's go on in. There's only one way to catch a polecat. Go in after him.
Hey, fellas, here's Sid.
Yeah. He's got a ranger with him, I see.
He's just an old guy. He can't do any harm.
Oh, just a minute there, young sir. I was putting three-cornered pants on grizzly bears before you were born. You step up here, I'll show you how old I am.
Okay, Pop, I take it all back.
Hey, Sid, you find out who did it yet?
No, but the Rangers think a hot rod may have hit him.
You shouldn't have said that, Sonny.
You're telling me. Too late now.
Let's grab those hot rodders and let's get them one by one.
Yeah, let's get started on this manhunt, boys. I know the first place to go.
All right, let's go.
Get on here.
I guess I'm not the peace officer I ought to be. Didn't even try and stop him.
Yeah, don't talk foolish, Sonny. There's some things you can do and some things you can't. Let's get a shooting iron and follow those men. And call Bill while we're at it. And listen, if we'd have got beat up, we wouldn't have been able to help anybody.
Hello, University Lab.
Bill Jefferson there.
Just a minute. Bill, it's for you.
Thanks, Pat. Hello, Bill Jefferson speaking.
Bill, this is Sid Gorman. You'd better get over here right away.
What's happened?
Oh, I let it slip out accidentally that you thought the hit-and-run driver was a hot rod. Now the men of the town have taken matters into their own hands. They're going after all the lads who own hot rods.
That's bad. Well, I'll get over there as fast as I can, Sid. You stay at the office and have Stumpy follow the mob. Tell him to call in and let you know where he is.
Okay, Bill.
Oh, one more thing, Sid. Try and get hold of Grey Wolf and Ralph and any other rangers you can. I'll see you soon.
Something unexpected, Bill?
Not unexpected, Pat. Just came sooner than I thought it would. Phone me at the constable's office in Big Pine when you get through going over the clothes, will you?
Quiet, you guys. Quiet. Quiet down. We gotta find out some things. Is this your hot rod, kid?
Yeah. It belongs to me and Smitty.
Have you been driving a car recently?
Hey.
Huh?
Here's a piece of Sam's coat cut in the license plate.
Quiet down. Quiet. Did you two kids run down Sam Potter? Answer me, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Who was driving?
Me.
So you're the guilty ones. You ran away, didn't you?
You did run away, didn't you? You dirty hit and run.
That's right.
Yeah, let's take him away before the law gets here. We didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
Accident, my eye. Let's get a barrel of tar and some feathers.
I got some. We'll take care of these kids our way.
Okay, let's go. Come on, let's get them. Let's go.
Here's the Rangers.
All right. Release those boys.
We ain't doing it, Copper. They're guilty. This time we're doing things our way.
Who appointed you as judge? How do you know they're guilty? Release them, I said.
You make me.
Yeah.
All right, I will.
Hold it there, boys. Don't make me shoot. I can gouge the eye out of a June bug at 1,000 yards. Don't make me prove it, I'm warning you.
Thanks, Stumpy. Now listen, you people. These kids are going to get justice. If they're guilty, they'll be punished. If they're not guilty, they'll go free. That's for the law to decide. Tom, take these two boys over to the jail and lock them up for their own protection. And stay there with Shorty and Ned and guard the jail. We'll keep these men here until you're safely away.
Okay, Bill. Come on, lads. Let's go to the car.
Hey, you in the back. Don't try and sneak off.
That's right. Everybody stays here until the car leaves. All right, you can disperse now.
You fellas, go on home. Behave yourselves. One peep and we'll need a jail stretcher.
Phew. Huh. That was a close one, Bill. We got here just in the nick of time.
I'll say we did, Ralph. This isn't the end of it either.
I think you're right, Bill. Those men plenty mad. You think they try and break into jail?
Well, they wouldn't try that in this day and age, would they?
Sounds ridiculous, I know, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if they did.
Now let's go back to the jail and talk with the boys. See what's what.
First, let's take a look at the hot rod, Sid. We'll be back at the jail before the mob gets rebellious enough to try to break in. Now, Rube, Smitty, suppose you tell us just how it happened.
I was driving, Bill. I'm the guilty one, not Rube. But I told him to drive away. I'm the most to blame.
All right, take it easy, fellas. All I want to know is what happened. And don't worry about the mob. They won't get you, believe me.
Okay, Bill. All I can say is that we were driving down the street. Couldn't have been more than 25 miles an hour at the most. And suddenly, the old man was in front of us. We couldn't stop.
Man, we hit the brakes. It didn't do any good. I still can't figure where he came from. Only, all of a sudden, he was right there. And that's all there is to it, Bill. I know we did wrong by running away, but we were...
All right, Smitty, that's what I wanted to know. And I believe you.
We wouldn't lie, Bill. Not even when we were in a jam.
Now, look, fellas. I want you to know that I didn't lock you up because I thought you were guilty of killing Sam Potter. I did it for your own protection.
They were going to tar and feather us.
Don't you worry about those men. I'll take care of them.
Bill, you better come out front. We got trouble again.
Tom, Shorty, Ned, you fellas guard the rear of the jail, will ya?
Right. Come on, boys.
Bill, I'm sure glad you and your men are here. I've never seen anything like this.
Don't fret none, Sonny. You're in good hands. They don't scare us none.
This has always been such a peaceful town.
Perhaps that's why they've let themselves get carried away.
They feel they have right to mete out justice, but they wrong.
Here they come. With a battering ram, it sounds like.
You said it, Ralph. They mean business.
And so do I. Open the door, Sid.
Did you say open the door, Bill?
That's right. I'll be in the doorway and let them try to get past.
Okay, Bill. You're calling the signals.
All right, quiet. Quiet, you people. Now, you men, listen to me.
Unless you go home and behave yourselves, I'm taking Rube and Smitty to the Knotty Pine jail.
You'll never make it, Ranger.
I'll make it all right, mister. Even if I have to use a tank. Now, either you disperse and go home, or I'll take drastic steps to make you.
How do we know justice will be given to those two hot men?
Yeah, how do we know that?
You have my word for it.
His word. That's a good one.
Yes, it is a good one. Because it's a promise, not only as an officer of the law, but as a Christian.
You're a Christian, Ranger?
That's right.
You can believe Bill Jefferson. He's never gone back on his word in all the years I've known him.
All right. That's good enough for me. Let's go home, men.
When's the inquest going to be held?
I haven't talked with the coroner yet. The day and time will be posted.
Okay. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going home.
Okay, George.
Stumpy, for a minute I thought we were going to have a shooting brawl on our hands.
Well, we can shoot if we have to, Sonny, but we learned a long time ago that God is a lot more powerful than anything we can do.
Bill, what do you hope to prove by reenacting accident?
I'm not sure yet, Grey Wolf. I have a couple of points in mind. Well, they're coming in close now. Be ready to push that stuffed dummy in front of the car when I give you the word.
Hot round almost here.
All right, now. Okay, Smitty. That was just what I wanted.
That's just how I stopped, Bill. It all happened so fast, but I'm sure that's just as near as I can come to what actually happened.
That's fine, Smitty. Thanks a lot. Grey Wolf, you escort the boys back to their garage and return them to jail. Ralph and I are going to Knotty Pine to see the coroner.
Bill, what's your honest opinion about this case?
Not quite ready to make a statement yet, Rudy. I need one more piece to finish the jigsaw puzzle.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
A court order for a post-mortem on Sam Potter's body.
Do you think it will show something?
I don't know, Rudy. That's why I'm asking for it.
All right, Bill. I'll sign the order.
Well, here's the place, Ralph.
Bill, how'd you find out Jim Land was Sam Potter's doctor?
Sid told me. Hello, Jim.
Well, Bill Jefferson has a living breathe. And Ralph Mitchell.
Hello, Dr. Land.
Well, come in and don't just stand there.
I'm sorry, Jim, but I got a lot to do.
Busy, huh? Hey, what's that piece of paper you got there, Bill?
Court order for a post-mortem on Sam Potter's body.
Oh, you won't need that.
You mean?
Yeah, I'll testify at the inquest, gladly.
Oh, fine. I'll call you to the witness stand first thing. Thanks a lot, Jim. Bye. To determine the means by which Samuel Potter met his death. Coroner Rudolph Gordon presiding for the County of Canyon and the Village of Big Pine. Spectators will not make comment, pro or con, as the principals involved are interrogated. Coroner Gordon.
As coroner, I'm setting aside the usual practice, and I'm asking Ranger Bill Jefferson to present the salient facts in the case. All right, go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Coroner. First, I'd like Dr. James Land to take the stand, please. Dr. Land, you've been attending the deceased for some years because of a physical ailment. Is that right?
That is correct.
What was the physical impairment?
Heart disease, angina.
Jim, I served you with a court order to make a post-mortem on the deceased Sam Potter. Why did you say it wouldn't be necessary, since the order was in conjunction with this inquest?
Because, Bill, I already knew how Sam Potter died.
How did Sam Potter die, Jim?
He died from a heart attack.
If the spectators will not come to order right now, I'll clear the inquiry room. Well, if this uproar occurs again, I'll have the Rangers clear the room. All right. Proceed, Bill.
Thank you, Rudy. Dr. Land, how did you come to this conclusion?
I warned Sam to take it easy because his condition was getting worse. He wouldn't listen. When I heard about the accident, I went to the undertaker and looked at Sam's body. That was clear and positive symptoms of heart attack, despite the bruises.
Well, will you sign the death certificate as you've stated? Cause of death, heart attack, coronary insufficiency?
Certainly. That's what killed Sam, and that's what I'll put on the certificate.
Thank you, Jim. You may leave the stand. Now, I call to the stand Ranger Bill Jefferson, the arresting officer. Bill, I want you to explain what you found out regarding this case.
All right. As you can see, I have drawn on this blackboard a diagram of the scene of the accident. We know that the car was traveling between 20 and 25 miles an hour. That fact has been very carefully checked. The victim was here at the X mark. The car didn't have time to stop and avoid hitting the victim. However, Smitty's reflexes are rapid. Upon seeing Sam in front of him, he applied the brakes instantly. It's a fact that the car was going only 5 miles an hour when it hit the victim. There's no dent in the fenders or grill of the car, nor are there any paint fragments in the clothes. Sam was hit in midair by the car bumper as he toppled right into the path of the oncoming vehicle.
Now I remember, Bill. That's the way it was. He didn't exactly fall. He sort of toppled.
I've presented the evidence to an unbiased mind, which proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Sam's death was accidental. This concludes my presentation.
Then if Rube and Smitty didn't kill him, they ought to be punished for running from the scene of the accident.
I'm not making excuses for that, except that they're only boys and that they were frightened. How about you, mister?
Me?
You should know better, have been inciting riot and mob violence, obstructing justice, and invading the right of privacy. Did you have a search warrant when you broke into Smitty's garage and examined his car?
No, I didn't. I apologize. I made a mistake.
So did Rube and Smitty when they hit and ran. They've learned their lesson. And thanks to you, I'm sure they'll have nightmares about it for a long time.
Take it easy, Bill. As coroner of this county, I've heard the evidence and do now pronounce Sam Potter's death as being from natural causes, not because he was hit by the automobile driven by these two boys. I also waive any punishment recommendation to the court because the boys ran away, since I'm sure they've learned their lesson. This inquiry is concluded, And adjourned.
We sure owe you a lot, Bill. You were great on the stand. I'll never forget you or the lesson we've learned.
I owe you the most thanks because I drove the car. Oh, boy. What a load you've lifted from my shoulders, Bill. I'll never forget the lesson you've taught us, either.
What is that lesson, fellas? It's just this. Never run when you're in trouble, no matter how bad the circumstantial evidence. In this country, you're innocent until you're proved guilty.
Well, I was just as startled as you were when Bill presented the truth. But it was the truth, and that's what really counts. We'll see you next week for more adventure with Ranger Bill! Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Ranger Bill. Have you ever had your heart set on getting something and then was disappointed because someone else received it? By all rights, you should have gotten it, but somehow it was the other fellow who was given the break. How did you act in that situation? Did you take it gracefully, realizing that all things work together for good to those who love God? Or did you spunk up and act as though you never knew what Christian behavior really was? Well, this is exactly what happened to Ranger Ralph, who was due for a promotion when the next opening came along. But wait a minute. First thing you know, I'll be telling you the whole story. Here it is. Next in line.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
Anything of earth-shaking importance take place while we were gone, Ralph?
No, nothing happened, Stumpy. Everything quiet. Oh, Bill, a letter came for you from Colonel Anders. Put it on your desk blotter. I thought it might be important.
Thanks, Ralph.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that you fellows are back, I'll run along home.
Okay, see you in the morning.
Right. So long, fellas.
Bye, Ralph.
Hello, Ralph.
From the size of that, looks like the Colonel threw the book at you, Bill.
Well, what's it say?
Shh. Everybody quiet. Genius at work.
Henry, you full of monkey business today.
Well, okay, it's probably a good thing Ralph left when he did.
What do you mean?
What meal?
Andy Thompson from the Mid-Central District is retiring the 1st of June, and Gil Zodkin from the Pennsylvania Eastern District is coming out here to fill the vacancy. Gil Zodkin?
Uh-oh. Ralph's going to be mad about that. By whose orders, Bill?
A man in Washington, I assume. Colonel Anders says his hands are tied by a top-level directive on both transfer and promotion. Woo! Ralph's liable to blow a fuse over this. He's the next in line, isn't he, Bill? Yes, he is, old-timer.
Well, how do you like that? We're being invaded by a new boss ranger. There's going to be some fancy fireworks when this gets out.
One thing. You fellas keep this under your hat until I have a talk with all our men in the morning. Okay, fellas, let's quiet down. I've just received a letter from Colonel Anders relative to some personnel changes. As most of you know, Andy Thompson is close to retirement. The date is June 1st. There's a ranger from the Pennsylvania Eastern District assigned to take Andy's place. This man's name is Gil Zotkin. Now, Colonel Anders wants him to visit us for a while to get an idea how we work out here. As you know, our method of operation is somewhat different. The Colonel would like Gil to actually run things for a while under my supervision. This will be like a training course for him. He'll arrive day after tomorrow. That's it, men.
Well, I wish I were a mind reader right now, Stumpy.
Yeah, you and me both, sonny. Boys are unhappy.
Bill, may I ask a question?
Sure. Go ahead, Tom.
What's happened to the rule of promotion by seniority? Has it been junked?
Not as far as I know, Tom.
Then whose bright idea is this? Colonel Anders?
No, Ed, it isn't his idea. The orders came from him, but he wrote and told me that he's guided by a top-level directive.
Bill,
Yes, Ralph?
this looks to me like a fellow doesn't have a chance to get ahead by hard work.
Well,
It's who you know, not what you know. I was to get the next promotion. Everyone knows it. And either I get it or I quit.
That's right. I thought the Forest Service was one place where influence didn't count.
Yeah, that's right.
Why should we train this new boss? Let him find out for himself.
Yeah, like all of us did, including yourself, Bill.
Fellas, I can understand how you feel about this. However, I'm just following orders like you. Yes, I have a few questions myself on this issue, and I intend to find out the facts. When I do, those facts will be passed on to you. In the meantime, I think the less said, the better, till we've all had time to settle down and think this whole thing over and cool off.
There isn't going to be any cooling off as far as I'm concerned, Bill. You'd better tell those big wheels they're going to be missing some rangers unless this is straightened out pronto.
That's right, Ralph. Well, back into the house.
You got that report finished, Henry?
Right now, Bill. You know, Bill, I can't get over the strong reaction that news from the Colonel got out of the fellas. I've never seen them act that way before. Ralph didn't even come in after lunch, and he always does.
Well, I sent him out on the trail for today at least, Henry. Maybe you'll think differently about things out there.
Yeah, take it from me, fellers. There's a lot to this thing. More than meets the eye.
But plenty right, Stumpy. More than just facts that Ralph not get promotion.
I don't follow you. I was under the impression that all the fellas are angry because Ralph didn't get promoted since he's the next in line.
Well, that's all very true, pal. The hidden part of it is that all the rest of the men put themselves in Ralph's shoes.
Oh, you mean they're all saying to themselves, why should we work hard for so many years only to lose out in the end?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There's some reason why the Central Office is doing this. I don't think they should hold it back. It's not good psychology. You know, this is the sort of thing that shatters a man's dreams, his ambition. We all work for more than dollar wages. We work for prestige, importance, authority, reputation. Take those away, and dollar wages don't mean much because a man's unhappy.
What do you think can be done about this? Maybe Colonel Anders cleared up? What you plan to do, Bill?
I can't do a thing right at the moment. I'm as much in the dark as you fellas. And from Colonel Anders' letter, it's plain that he's in the same boat. I think the best thing to do is wait and see what happens.
There's a ranger standing over there, Bill.
That must be the fella, Henry. Let's walk over and meet him. Help him with his bangs.
He fine-looking man. Clean cut.
Yep. Looks like he's got something under his hat besides hair.
Hey, he sees us.
Hello there. You Gil Zadkin?
Yes, I am. You're Bill Jefferson?
That's right, Gil. Shake. Now, these are my assistants, Grey Wolf and Stumpy Jenkins. My friend, Henry Scott.
Hi, fellas.
How do you do, Mr. Zadkin?
Here, let us help you with your bags, Gil. We'll get over to headquarters.
That'll be fine. I appreciate your meeting me, Bill. It always helps in a strange place.
Well, it won't be strange for long, Gil. You know your way around in a couple of weeks.
Mark that 10 and 6, Ed.
Okay, Ralph. Well, a new boss ranger must be here. There goes the 9-5.
Hey, there's the train. We got visitors.
Visitors. I'd just as soon punch that guy in the nose as look at him.
Now, wait a minute, Tom. That won't get us anywhere. Remember, we've got to behave ourselves, if only out of respect to Bill.
That's right, Tom. Bill's the best boss ranger on 2 feet. We don't want to hurt him if we can help it.
Yeah. Well, what I'd like to know is, how are you going to fight this, Ralph? All the fellas are pulling for you, 100%.
That's right. What you say goes, Ralph. Nobody in a big fat office a long ways from here is going to gyp you of your rights. If they do it to you, they'll do it to all of us.
Yeah, I know that. Let's bide our time, fellas. Wait and see what happens.
This ends the guided tour of headquarters, Gil. No charge, of course.
Well, there should be, the way you took me around. You fellas have a very impressive layout here. I should think you're ready for everything and anything.
This largest district in country. Plenty ground to cover.
I'm glad you said that, Grey Wolf. Bill, may I have a look at your maps?
You beat me to the draw, Gil. That's next on the list.
Let's see. How many maps have you got here on your rack, Bill?
10 altogether.
You used them all?
You see, we carry all the maps, so if we get lost following one, we can use the other 9 and hope to find a way again.
Yeah. Stumpy, you have quite a sense of humor. Quite enjoyable.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, Gil. He'll drive you to distraction now with his corny jokes.
Now, you see here, Henry. You laugh almost as hard as I do at my own jokes. You know it.
Better take it easy, fellas. I'd like to get through showing Gil around so he can meet the men in the morning and start working on the trail with them. Let's have it quiet, fellas. There's no need for me to point out to you who Gil Zadkin is, since that's very obvious. Now, Gil isn't going to remember all your names, first anyway. So I'll just introduce him to the 3 senior men, then he'll meet the rest of you as he works along. Come on along, Gil. Gil, this is Tom Allen.
Hello. Hello, Tom.
And, Gil, this is Ed Freeburg.
Howdy.
I'm glad to meet you, Ed.
And this big hulking fellow's Ralph.
So you're the new boss ranger, huh?
Well, not exactly yet, Ralph.
You can meet the rest of the fellas in a few minutes, Gil. Men, I want you to extend every courtesy to Gil as you would to me. In a few days, he'll be out on the trail, working with you as your boss. This is only temporary, of course. It's kind of training ground for Gil, so he can find out our problems firsthand and benefit from experiences with us when he leaves for his new post. But when Gil gives an order, it's the same as though I gave it. Is that understood?
Yeah.
Fine. And now I want you fellas to get acquainted with Gil. We'll be making a trail inspection first thing Monday morning.
You've got a fine group of rangers under your command, Bill.
Thanks, Gil. You'll find that they're well-seasoned veterans. Cool as cucumbers in the face of any emergency.
I could feel that. It's the impression you get from men who've been through a lot. Well, now if you'll excuse me, I've got to mail some letters. Also take a stroll around town on my own. So long, fellas.
Yeah,
So long, Gil. See ya.
Boy, talk about a refrigerator. Ralph, Ed, and Tom really were cold, weren't they?
You said it, young feller. The ice was a foot thick. The rest of the men weren't so bad, though.
I think whole thing come off better than expected, in spite of bad feelings.
Yeah, I agree, Grey Wolf. No comment, Bill?
Oh, I don't know what to say, fellas. I'm a little angry with our senior men. They know better than to act that way. I'm sure Gil felt it. That's why I wanted to take a walk. Sort of think things over.
Can you blame fellows too much, Bill?
Well, no, Grey Wolf, I can't. I have a point, all right. But that still doesn't excuse them for not acting more friendly to Gil.
Well, what do you think of him, Ralph?
Oh, I don't know. Seems like a nice enough fella. But, I don't know. Think he's got any more on the ball than anybody else. Why should he get my promotion?
You're right, Ralph. I can't understand why they're breaking the seniority system in the Western Division. Personally, I think we ought to give the guy a bad time. Let the higher-ups know where we stand.
Yeah, well, what about Bill's orders? We don't want to hurt him if we can help it.
No, we don't have to stage a rebellion or anything like that. What I mean is heckle Gil in little ways. He'll only be here for a short while. Bill wants him to get experience. So that's just what we'll give him, eh, Ralph?
Yeah, that's a general idea, Ed. Let him know just how we operate. You fellas follow my cues. Pass the word to the boys to sort of goof things up for Gil. You know, nothing drastic, but good. Understand?
Sure. We'll call it his initiation into the Western Division.
Yeah.
Henry'll take you out to where Ralph's working with the trail crews, Gil.
Good idea, Bill. I'd probably end up 10 miles off base myself. This will save time.
Got everything you need?
I think so.
If you want anything from here, have one of the fire tower boys call in, or else use the trail crew radio.
No, I'll do that, Bill. Should be back in 3 days.
Right. Don't forget to make out your daily reports. Okay, better get going.
Yeah, so long.
So long, Gil.
I'll be back as soon as I can, Bill.
Hey, get up there! Ed, what's the matter with the men? Those stumps aren't regulation.
What do you mean they're not regulation? The men are cutting them off 2 feet from the ground, aren't they?
2-foot stumps aren't regulation, Ed, and you know it. We have trees back east, you know. Tell the men to get back over there and cut them over. Stop wasting the government's time. 1.5 feet this time, and be sure they keep them all that low.
1.5 feet? What are we making? A lawn?
Hey, Lefty!
Yeah, what's the matter, Gil?
How wide are you plowing this fire lane?
Well, 75 feet. Why?
Why? What do you mean, why? You should know it's 90 feet.
Huh? Oh, okay, so I made a mistake. I'll make it as wide as you want it.
Ralph, when are the grazing permits report due in?
I think they're supposed to be in now, Gil.
What? Let me look at the schedule again. I haven't got it all down yet. Let's see. Tree planting, wildlife diseases, flood control. Here it is. You're right, Ralph. They're due in today.
Well, they won't be.
You mean you haven't got them ready?
Nope.
Well, why? You knew they were due, didn't you?
I've got other things to do than make out reports.
How soon do you think you'll have them finished?
A couple of days.
Couple of days? Can't you understand?
If that doesn't satisfy you, you can do them yourself.
You want to see me, Bill?
Yes, Gil. Sit down, will you? Gil, I've just got the grazing permits report this morning. Some things I wanted to ask you about. Footbridge over Otter Creek had to be torn down and rebuilt. Fire lanes are plowed wrong, had to be corrected. Signs warning tourists not to pester the bears aren't up yet. Guardrail on the trail Dead Man's Gorge only half completed. So on. How about it?
I guess I'm not cut out to be a boss ranger, Bill.
Nonsense, Gil. You wouldn't have been sent here for training if somebody didn't think you had it in you.
Why didn't Washington wait until Andy Thompson retired and then send me right into my new job?
That might be disastrous for you and the forest, Gil. If I were transferred to the Eastern Division, I'd want them to train me the way they're training you.
Oh, you're right. But running a forest out here is different in lots of ways than it is in the East. You have different problems here. Believe me, I've learned a lot this past week.
Glad to hear that, Gil. However, you haven't learned how to handle men. Gil, how would you handle this personnel problem if it happened when you take over Andy's district? That's why you're here, to give you training as a boss, not as a ranger necessarily. When you go to your new assignment, you got to be ready for anything.
Oh, what do you suggest I do?
Gil, my men are testing you, just as they did me when I first took over. Call their bluff. Don't let them push you around. Meet them face to face and talk straight from the shoulder. You'll have senior men in your new command.
All right. I'll take your advice. Thanks, Bill. Fellas, I've called you together to tell you that I've just been raked over the coals for not getting the job done either right or on time.
What's that got to do with us, Gil?
Plenty, Ralph. I know you're giving me the business. Let's call it testing.
What if we are? Can't you take it?
Yeah, Tom, I can take it. As long as your testing doesn't interfere with the job. We're here to get certain things done, and from now on, they're going to be done, or I'll know the reason why. Test me all you want. That's all right with me, as long as we get the job done. All these little errors and failures have got to stop, and stop right now. Okay. It's your turn to talk.
Okay, Gil. We'll take the heat off.
Yeah, let's give Gil a break, fellas.
All right.
Say, Sonny, have you noticed something? By the way of things, Gil's got the boys moving right along. Yes, old-timer. Think Gil's finally got the man under control. They pushed him around for a while, but they've been called on it. Maybe the battle's over.
You think Ralph and the fellas have gotten over their resentment?
I hope so, pal. Resentment can eat at a man's spirit like a cancer. He hardly realizes it.
Yeah, but other people realize it plenty quick.
Not true enough. Time will tell if fellows get over this.
Well, Gil's called their bluff. He has the control. Chances are that now they'll try and get that control away from him. Henry, have those reports arrived yet?
No, Bill, they haven't.
Just what I thought.
What do you mean? How would you know? You took Storm out for a fast run early this morning.
That's right, and I did that for a reason, pal.
Hey, you're angry.
Yes, I am. Get Ralph on the radio, will you? Tell him I want to see him at once. Hello, Ralph.
Hello, Bill. You wanted to see me?
Ralph, what's wrong?
What do you mean, what's wrong? Look, you know as well as I do, the fella hasn't got what it takes.
That isn't what I'm talking about, Ralph. I want to know what's wrong with you.
Me?
Yes, you. I mean, deep inside. Ralph, we've been friends going on 5 years. You're not only a ranger under my supervision, but a personal friend. I know you like a book. You're not acting like your old self. Ralph, you're a strong Christian. But it's my guess you've fallen into the trap of Satan.
I don't think my spiritual life is any of your business, Bill.
But what you do for the U.S. government is my business. You're next in line for promotion, Ralph.
You mean I was next in line for promotion?
However, with your present attitude, if an opening did come up, I wouldn't even recommend you for promotion.
You wouldn't, eh? Showing your friendship, I suppose, huh?
That's just why I wouldn't recommend you. Because I am your friend. Ralph, let's face it. You're filled with bitterness and resentment. Things haven't gone just the way you wanted it, so you're spunking.
Is that so? What is this? You're giving me a sermon?
No, Ralph, I'm not giving you a sermon. I'm talking straight from the shoulder about the terrific change for the worse that's come over you since Gil arrived. You've got to realize that we can't always have things our own way. Remember the lesson God taught Job?
Job? Ha. Yeah, there's a lesson you and the big guns over you need to be taught. You can't push senior men around.
God, he belongs to you. Deal with him as you would a son. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hey, Bill, phone's ringing.
Huh? Oh, I'll get it, Henry.
Boy, the way it's ringing, something must have happened.
Hello, Bill Jefferson speaking.
Bill, this is Ralph. I'm sorry I woke you up.
That's all right. What's wrong, Ralph?
Me. I know it's an unearthly hour, but can I talk to you? I mean, as soon as I can get to your house.
Well, of course, Ralph. Right over. I'll be waiting for you. Bye.
Bill, I had to come to see you. God has been giving me a terrible whipping. Now, I'm terribly sorry for what I've done and the way I've acted. Everything you said to me is true. I knew I was guilty. That's why I was so mean. The Lord wouldn't let me sleep until I came over here and apologized.
I accept your apologies, Ralph. Believe me, I understand how you feel. Maybe I would have felt the same way if I'd been in your shoes.
Thanks, Bill. You're a real friend in every sense of the word.
Thanks, Ralph.
And you can still help me, Bill, if you will.
Gladly. Just name it.
I'd like you to pray with me. Ask the Lord to take the resentment out of my heart and put love and patience there. I want the Lord to give the patience that Job had.
Ralph, why are the fellas gathered around? They're supposed to be out working.
I called them in, Gil. Something I want to say to you in front of them, if you'll let me.
Okay. What is it?
Well, Gil, the first thing I want to do is apologize for the things I've done to you and the way I've acted since you came on the job. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm the one who's been ringleading the special treatment you've been getting. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I must say anyway that I'm terribly sorry, and please accept my apologies. For the rest of your stay with us, you'll have my wholehearted cooperation, and I'll help you as much as I can.
Ralph, I appreciate what you've just done more than you know. It took a lot of courage. I most certainly will forgive you and accept your apology.
Thanks, Gil. Okay, fellas, let's get with it. Do the job we're supposed to do.
Well, Gil, I must say you done a fine job. Won a tough battle. Good for you.
Thanks, Bill. It's been a terrific experience. I've learned a whale of a lot about supervising men. To give credit where credit is due, Ralph, Tom, Nate, and all the rest of the men have been an invaluable help in showing me the special problems you have out here.
Well, that's fine. Very happy it turned out the way it did.
You leave us in the morning for a new job. That right, Gil?
Yes, Grey Wolf, that's right. I'm sorry to have to leave you fellas, but, well, orders are orders.
Oh, you won't be so far away, Gil.
That's right, Sonny. We'll be working together.
Oh, hi, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
Hi, fellas. I'm sorry you have to leave us, Gil.
Thanks, Ralph. I'll be around to see you as often as I can.
I'm afraid Ralph won't be here then, Gil.
What's that, Bill?
What do you mean, Bill?
Ralph, here are new orders for you.
What? Well, what kind of orders?
Read them. They just came through.
Fellas, I've been promoted to take over the Southern District. Louis Hampton's going to division headquarters, and I'm taking his place. Oh, it sounds almost too good to be true.
It is true, Ralph. So you see, you really are next in line. Well, you can see, boys and girls, it never pays to jump to conclusions and think you've got all the answers. And in being bitter and resentful because things don't happen the way you'd like them to, you're only hurting yourself. Because the Lord may have bigger and better things planned for you. Well, see you next week for more adventure with
Ranger Bill! Ranger Bill! Warrior of the Woodland!
Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done. Boys and girls, what would you do if a king cobra got out of its cage and escaped, and you were responsible? How would you go about capturing this deadly reptile, a bite from whose fangs means sure death, more deadly than the fer-de-lance or the bushmaster of South America? A king cobra has enough poison in one injection of venom to kill 500 men. Listen for the story as Bill and his rangers go looking for 12 feet of danger. Our story opens as Paul Pearson, young son of Thad Pearson, director of the Logan County Zoological Gardens, amuses himself by playing idly with a baby boa constrictor. He watches fascinated as the writhing creature slithers across the floor of the snake house. Just as the door opens, George Hill, a longtime head keeper of the zoo, enters.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, George.
I see you're playing with the baby boy again. You'd better be careful, son. That fella's going to gain strength pretty fast in the next couple of months.
I'll watch him. If I feel he's getting too strong for me, I'll quit playing with him.
Well, I don't like you to play with snakes at all. Someday you might make a mistake, and it would be too late.
Oh, I'll be all right. Besides, Dad says it's all right as long as I don't go near the dangerous ones.
I know what your dad said. But you know how I got this crippled left hand of mine?
Sure. You got it from snake bites. 4 of them.
That's right. It's only by the Lord's power that I ever pulled through. Now you go on, Paul. I've got to feed those killers today, and I don't want you here when I open the cages up.
All right, George, but I'd like to help feed them if you let me.
When you get a little older, son, you can't take any chances now. It'll be too late after you got bit.
Hello there, son. Back so soon from the snake house?
Yeah, Dad.
What's the matter, Paul? You're acting rather down in the mouth.
Oh, nothing. George says that baby boa is going to be too strong for me to play with pretty soon.
That's right, Paul. That what's bothering you?
No, not exactly.
Uh-huh. Something is bothering you, son. Come on, out with it.
Oh, it's nothing really. Honest.
Oh, come on now, Paul. We've talked over lots of problems before and ironed them out, haven't we?
Let's forget it, huh, Dad? I don't want to complain. It's nothing really.
I see. Well, the first opportunity I have, I'll talk to George about letting you in the snake house.
How'd you know, Dad?
Oh, just a dad's understanding, I guess. I was a boy once, you know.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Just one thing, Paul.
Yeah?
Remember, George has big responsibilities. And he takes pride in seeing that they're well taken care of. Stay away from the poisonous snakes. They're dangerous. Morning, George.
Good morning. Got to clean this cage out. If this monkey'd stay away from the broom.
Hello there, Pedro. How's the chief snake keeper's helper this morning?
He's a lot of help. All he does is run off at the mouth and eat bananas. And get into monkey business like most monkeys do, I guess.
I guess that's what monkeys are made for. Hey, Pedro?
Here, Pedro. Don't take on so. Stop that racket.
What's the matter with him, George? He acts like he's afraid of something. Look, the king cobra's out.
No, it can't be. The cage is locked.
Turn around and look, man. That isn't a hose crawling out of that cage door.
Oh, we've got to stop him.
12 long feet of danger slithers slowly out of its cage. King Cobra, deadliest of all poisonous reptiles. Quick as greased lightning, cunning as a fox and ruthless. For a frightening moment, the two men stand paralyzed with awe as the killer moves soundlessly out of the cage onto the service floor. Suddenly, the director springs into action.
George, throw the door locks. Make sure nobody's in the building.
Right away, Chief. The sticks are behind the door.
Get out of here, Pedro, before you get killed. Let's see now. Here are the sticks, poles. Now, Mr. Cobra, we'll see if we can't talk you into going back into your cage.
The building's locked, Thad. I've got a shotgun here.
That's fine. Stay in back of me, George. I'll need plenty of room to maneuver this character.
Let me take the risk, Thad. It's my responsibility.
You just stand ready with a shotgun. If the snake gets me, then it's your job to kill him.
Okay, Chief. He's all yours.
I don't want to lose him unless it's absolutely necessary. He's a valuable specimen.
Watch him, Chief. He sees you now.
I'm watching him, and he's watching me. I'm going to try to get this loop around his neck before he hoods.
Maybe you'll be able to get him before he suspects a scrap.
This is eating day.
Yes, he's fed. He should be rather lazy.
Oh, just raise your head up now, big boy, and don't hood out or your goose is cooked.
Now, Thad, he isn't hooding.
I've got him, George.
Good work, Thad.
Get a hold on his body and we'll put him into the cage before I choke him to death.
Right.
Have you got him all in?
Yes, all 12 feet.
Wedge his body down with a pole so I can take the loop off his neck.
Okay, I got him. Take the loop off now.
Let's see. There. Release the pole and we'll slam the cage door.
Now. Oh.
Whew. We were very fortunate this time. That fella's fast.
Oh.
Half a second more and he'd have piled right out of here again.
You said it, Thad. We better go around and look at him through the glass and see if we heard him, huh?
All right. And then I want to find out how that cage door got unlocked.
I guess he didn't hurt himself. He seems to be all right.
Yes, he's all right, George. You'd better put some sedative in his water supply to cool him down. It isn't good for him to get too excited.
Okay, I'll do that, Thad.
Now, one question. How'd that door get unlocked, George?
Thad, I don't know. It beats me. I always check the cages carefully. You know that.
George, I'm not questioning your integrity. Anybody can make a mistake. I make more of them than anybody else does. But this, well, it's frightful. Just be careful, George. Do you hear?
Thad, I know you think I did it. But there were others in the snake house beside me this morning.
Others? Who, for instance?
Well, Paul.
Are you intimating that Paul left the cobra's cage door open?
I don't know, Thad, but, well, I just worry about the boys making a mistake, that's all. I'm very fond of the boy. Watch him grow up from a baby to a fine lad. But I don't think he should be in the snake house, at least alone.
Well, I think I'm a better judge of that than you, George. He's becoming quite a herpetologist. He won't make any mistakes, I'm sure. Anyway, I've given him specific instructions to stay away from the poisonous reptiles.
Thad, I don't like having anybody in the snake house, even Paul. That is, before and after visiting hours.
Well, now, let's not argue about it, George. Just be sure you give the cobra a sedative. I'll see you later.
Paul!
Hello, George.
Paul, what are you doing in the snake house? I thought I told you I didn't want anybody in here before I arrived in the morning.
My dad says I can come here. I just wanted to exercise my black snake.
You're not going to exercise any snakes until after I get here. And I don't intend to get up at 4 o'clock just so I can be here before you. I suppose you know all about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, my dad told me. Boy, what a close call that was. Sure must have been some job to put that cobra back into its cage, huh?
It wasn't easy. We had to wrestle him around a bit.
I should say, 12 feet is a lot of snake to handle.
Well, I've got work to do. I can't stand here and talk all morning.
Okay, George. I'll put the black snake in its cage in a little while.
You remember what I said about coming in here before I do it. Paul, come here.
What's the matter, George?
Plenty's the matter. How did these cages get unlocked? 3 of them.
3 cages unlocked? How'd that happen?
That's what I'm asking you, Paul. Did you unlock these cages?
Of course not, George. I didn't. I'd tell you if I did.
Well, if you didn't, all right. Just the same, I don't want you in here before I get here in the morning, and that's an order. Do you understand?
Sure, George. If that's the way you want it, I'll put the black snake back and leave right now.
Hey, look, Bill. Here's a king cobra. Well, the card says he's 12 feet long.
That's a lot of snake, isn't it, pal?
Oh, I'll say it is. Hey, look how he moves. Very little effort, too. Boy, what a smooth operation.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, the only critter that isn't afraid of a cobra is mongoose.
Mongoose? The animal's called a mongoose, Stumpy.
Stumpy talk about more than one. Maybe he think they come in flocks like Canadian geese.
Okay, so one of them critters is called a mongoose. When you're talking about a whole bunch, you call them either mongooses or mongeeses. Now, which one of them words do you use?
Oh, Stumpy, are you murdering the King's English?
Take it easy, fellas. Stumpy, the plural for mongoose is mongooses. Don't let these
Bill,
fellas...
hey, look at the cobra. Look at him.
Great Scott! He's getting out of the cage. Henry, find the keeper.
Bill, right away.
Stumpy,
George!
Grey Wolf,
George!
start herding the people out of the building through the other door. And keep them quiet. I'll guard the service alley so the snake can't get out.
We get people out plenty quick.
Don't take any chances with that there killer, Sonny. If he tries to get out, fill his head full of 45 slugs.
Bill, Henry tells me the cobra's out again. Is that right?
Take a look, George.
Yes, it's the cobra all right, and he's hooting. That means he's feeling ornery. I'll sound the alarm and get some help.
The escape alarm. It's the snake house. Oh, don't tell me another one's gotten out. Howie, Dick, John, grab shotguns and let's go.
Do you think the cobra's out again, Thad?
Oh, I don't know, Howie. Let's get in the car, boys, and get there as fast as we can. Well, George, I wonder how many more times we'll have to put Mr. King Cobra back into his cage.
I certainly hope this is the last escape he makes, Chief.
Yeah, me too.
That's for sure.
It had better be.
I know what you mean, Thad. But I did not leave those doors open. Moreover, Paul was here before I was here this morning again, after I'd forbidden him. I found 3 cages unlocked, and I told Paul I didn't want him in the snake house anymore unless I'm here.
It's your duty and responsibility to see that the cages are all checked and locked before visitors are allowed in the building. Isn't that right?
But I did that, Thad. I always make a security check before opening my doors to visitors. And when I made my routine check this morning, the cages were all locked. And I'll verify before anyone that I'm telling the truth.
All right, George, let's not argue about it. But there's something mighty peculiar going on around here. I wish I could put my finger on what it is. Bill,
Yeah?
Henry, Stumpy, Grey Wolf, let's go over to my office. I want to have a talk with you fellows.
Well, it's the next morning now, and George, the keeper of the snake house, walks briskly to get about his early morning chores of caring for the reptiles. George seems to be in a happier frame of mind than he's been for several days, and he hums as he walks up the short stairs to the main doors of the building. He finds the door locked and congratulates himself that Paul is at last listening to reason. He takes out his keys, selects the right one, fits it into the lock, and opens the door. Suddenly, he stops short.
Oh, the cobra's loose!
He jumps back to escape the cobra.
Oh.
His feet stumble and he falls, while the cobra moves rapidly by. There on the concrete steps of the snake house, George lies for a moment stunned, while the cobra, with hardly an effort, makes his getaway. The slithering ribbon of death moves out of the building, across the road, and vanishes into the underbrush. Then George rouses from his unconsciousness, seeking to pierce the mental fog.
Oh, my head. Oh, what happened? Oh, I fell. The cobra. The door's open. The cobra's gone.
Hello, Gate 1.
This is Gate 1, Chief. We're closing the gates now.
Good. Break out your rifles and stand by. The alarm means that whatever's escaped is now out of the building and onto the grounds. Don't let anybody in. Gate 2. This is Thad Pearson. You get that alarm?
Yeah, Chief. We've got the gates locked and the rifles broken out.
Good. I'm going to the snake house. Howie, call the rangers and the sheriff's men. If that cobra's escaped out of the building, we're going to need help.
Right away, Chief.
How's the head feeling now, George?
Mighty tender where I struck it on the stair rail, Bill. That concrete's awfully hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. You better stay here while we track the snake. Thad, how much of a start does the cobra have on us?
Oh, about an hour and a half, Bill.
Not so good. He could get plenty far by this time, especially if he kept in high gear. How about a mongoose, Thad? You have any here?
No, Bill, we don't have a mongoose. The zoo at Silver City has one, though.
That's 50 miles. Thad, would you take my car and get that mongoose?
All right, Bill. I'll make it as quickly as I can.
Well, this thing gives me the creeps, Bill. Any second I expect to see the cobra's head pop up under my nose.
It could happen that way, pal. You just stay behind me and keep your shotgun ready.
Snake leaves plenty good trailing ground. It's good for us there not be rain for many days now. Dust help make snake trail easy to find.
That there cobra feller weren't much interested in covering his trail. All he cared about was getting for the faraway places.
That's right, old-timer. I'd say offhand that the faraway place could be that barn over on the other side of the road.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bill. The trail's heading straight for the road.
Yep. Sure as I'm a foot high, that there reptile's in that barn.
We go in barn after cobra and kill him?
No, Grey Wolf. Let's let the mongoose do that trick. We wouldn't stand a chance against that killer if he caught us off guard. But a mongoose is made for that kind of work.
You said it, sonny. Only one thing faster than a cobra, and that's a mongoose. Only one thing faster than a mongoose, and that's grease lightning.
You fellas keep circling the barn and make sure the cobra stays inside. I'll send the sheriff and his boys over to help you keep him in the barn.
Well, where are you going, Bill?
Back to the snake house to make sure everything's all right.
You never met Pedro before, have you, Bill?
No, I haven't, George.
Talk to the man, Pedro.
He's quite a guy, isn't he? How are you feeling after your fall, George?
Well, that goose egg on my head's gone down to a pigeon size by now. I'll be all right.
Good. Well, I gotta be getting back now. We've got the cobra trapped in an old barn on the other side of the highway. By the way, George, see that the locks on all the doors are set, will you? For a while, I don't think it's enough just to have the latch on.
Okay, Bill. Will do.
See you later, George. Hello, Paul. Your dad back yet?
He just drove up, Bill. Here he comes now. He's got the mongoose in a cage.
We're all set, Bill. All we've got to do now is get on the scene and open the cage. The mongoose will do the rest.
Fine. I'll have the squad cars brought up. Their spotlights can be used to light up the inside of the barn.
Good idea. Now remember, I don't want the mongoose to kill our cobra. I just want him to tire him out. Then we'll step in and stop the fight. I've got the equipment for it with me.
Okay. I'll get the cars in position. Then we can get started.
Hurriedly, the way is prepared for the duel between two mortal enemies, King Cobra and Mongoose. Bill turns the spotlight on to illuminate the inside of the barn by beaming the lights through the large center door. Then Thad and Bill walk toward the barn. Thad is ready to release the mongoose in an instant. Bill's ready with his shotgun in case the cobra attacks before they're ready. The mongoose becomes frantic with excitement.
He's got scent of the cobra, Bill.
Good. Let him go, Thad.
Look at him go for the barn.
Hey, he stopped dead.
No wonder. Look where that big snake is, just inside the door. Boy, it's a good thing we didn't try to go in after him. He'd have nailed one of us for sure. Look, the battle's on.
This'll be short. The cobra's on unfamiliar ground. He can't put up a good fight. Did you see that? The cobra missed the little animal only by a fraction of an inch.
That's the way he fights. Close range, a hair's breadth distance. Boy, with perfect coordination.
Wow! The mongoose raked the cobra's neck that time with his teeth. Boy, how that little fella can weave and dodge. Back and forth. Back and forth. Back and... Hey, there! He's teasing the snake.
The cobra got him. No, he didn't. He just missed the mongoose by a hair again.
The cobra's getting woozy, Bill. He must have struck at the mongoose about 24 times by now.
I'll get him when you give the word, Thad.
Well, my main concern is that the mongoose doesn't close in for the fatal bite.
You mean where he grabs the snake by the back of the head and breaks the cobra's neck?
That's it, Henry.
I think we better close in now, Thad. Snake's getting pretty tired.
Yes. Let's take both of them. Come on. Now.
Okay. Careful. Watch it. Take it easy. Watch it. Okay. Watch it. There we go. Come on. There we are.
There we go. We've got both of them caged and ready to go back. Thanks to you, Bill. And to Stumpy Grey Wolf and Henry.
That's all right, Thad. Say, would you be interested in finding out who's been unlocking the cages in the snake house?
Would I be interested? I should say so. Who is it?
Yeah, who is it?
Well, I'd rather it was demonstrated to you. Just who it is than tell you. Let's all go over to the snake house, shall we? Quiet, Pedro. George, let me have your keys, will you? I want to try an experiment.
Sure, Bill. Here you are.
Thanks.
Now, how in the world is using them keys going to show who let the cage doors open?
Well, quiet, Stumpy. Let Bill finish what he started.
What are you going to do now, Bill?
Yeah, that's a good question. My curiosity is sticking out a mile.
Okay, Pedro. You can go along if you want. Now, fellas, just watch as I go along and check the locks on the cage doors. Uh-oh, there's one on the bottom I didn't check.
Hey, Bill, look above you. Pedro's opening the cage door.
There, my friends, is your mysterious cage opener, sitting right on my shoulders.
Pedro. But how in the world did you discover that, Bill?
Well, Thad, in watching George opening the cages, I noticed each time how intently interested Pedro was in the way George was handling the latches on the doors. Of course, we all know the disconcerting habit monkeys have in mimicking human beings. So I got an idea and thought I'd test it out. And as you see, it worked.
Well, that throws me for a loop. George, well, please accept my sincere apologies for ever questioning your integrity.
Oh, that's all right, Chief. You're not the only one at fault. Paul.
Yeah?
I want to tell you how sorry I am for misjudging you. Will you forgive a crabby old man like me? Oh, there. There, lad.
Hey, look. They're hugging each other.
I guess this thing had us all on attention. But thanks to you, Bill, and to your rangers, the mess is straightened out.
Oh, it's all in the day's work, Thad. By the way, what are you going to do with Pedro, now that his monkey shines have been exposed?
Maybe we'd better put him over on Monkey Island and retire him for the rest of his natural life.
Hey, Dad, just think what would have happened if he'd opened the cages in the lion house.
That's right, Paul. Only I don't know that a cobra is any less dangerous than a lion. But at least he's not so loud. However, I'm sure glad that neither George or Paul were guilty of opening up those cage doors. Aren't you? We'll see you next week for more adventure with Ranger Bill!
Hi, fellas and gals. Ranger Bill again, stepping in here for less than a minute to invite all of you out there to another half hour of adventure next week at this special spot on your radio dial. We've gathered a pile of stories for you with mystery and adventure and all kinds of excitement, and we don't want you to miss a single one. So next time, call up your friends or get together with them and join all of us Rangers for a session of fighting forest fires, grappling with grizzly bears, or just plain trying to help somebody out. We're sure you'll enjoy the story, and you might just learn something that'll be of real help to you in later life. So, next week, be sure to listen.
Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Ranger Bill. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to lose your memory? Yes, I mean, really and truly forget your past, except perhaps for a few unrelated snatches of your life here and there. How'd you feel if you didn't know your name and couldn't remember where you lived or who your family is? I'd be scared to death, wouldn't you? Stumpy Gray Wolf and I get involved with a man suffering from amnesia. And this is the story. The Man Who Couldn't Remember. Have you ever seen a hobo jungle? A hobo jungle is a place located near a railroad track where hobos gather around a fire and swap stories and experiences. They also eat and sleep there. The hobo jungle we're going to visit is located near Junction City, about half a block from the main freight line. Let's find out what's going on there, shall we?
How's the stew coming, boxcar?
Okay, Rails. Hey, when you going south?
Nosy, ain't you? Why you want to know?
I ain't nosy. I don't care if you ever go south.
Okay, maybe I'm going soon and maybe later. Hey, what's that?
Maybe it's a railroad deck.
No, making too much noise. Besides, we ain't on railroad property.
What could it be? An animal?
I don't know. We'll know as soon as it gets in the clearing.
Hey, it's a guy. He's acting kind of funny.
He ain't no bull, that's for sure. He got funny clothes on.
Them's riding clothes, Rails. I've seen them before.
What's he doing here? He looks kind of goofy. What's your name, Bo?
I don't know what my name is or who I am. My head hurts.
Hey, I don't like this, Rails. Let's get him out of here before the cops find him and blame it on us.
May I have some food and water, please? Oh, my head.
We gotta get rid of this guy, boxcar, before the law gets here.
Yeah. Hey, there's a freight coming up the grade now. Hey, let's put him in empty, huh?
Let's go. I'll put him to sleep. You catch him.
Good.
Please, may I have something to eat and some water?
We don't want no part of you, mister. The law might be after you. Let's get him in an empty. I'll help you carry him.
Hey, you know something, Big Joe? Don't bother me, Shorty. Can't you see I'm trying to get some shut-eye? Yeah, I know, but this is important, Big Joe. You're worse than a talking machine. What is it? Well, that guy that was thrown in here. Yeah, what about him? He ain't bothering us. Just lays there. Yeah, I know, but... Maybe there's something wrong with him. I lit a match while you were getting shut-eye. Guess what I saw? I would have just said it's so important. Go on, I want to sleep. Look, the back of the guy's head is bloody. It is. Let's take a look. Sure. Yeah, I got a match here. What's your right, Shorty? Hey, maybe the guy's hot, huh? It could be. Now let's jump him. I don't want no trouble with the law. I'm just bumming a free ride. Yeah, sure, me too. Hey, this guy must be hot. Or why would them guys throw him in here? Well, the guy ain't no beau, that's for sure. First grade we come to, we'll dump him. We're going too fast now. We don't want to kill him. He ain't done nothing to us. Okay. The first grade, and out he goes. I'll drop him, Shorty. Okay. But do it fast so the crew don't see you. Yeah.
Matilde, behave yourself.
Okay. Easy there, boy.
Storm, stop this tomfoolery. Can't run now, so settle down, big boy.
Horses have plenty pep all time, Bill. That's a good sign.
That's right, Grey Wolf. We need our horses, so we got to keep them healthy. Besides, I enjoy being around healthy animals.
If these ponies of ours ain't healthy, it ain't our fault, Sonny.
What you mean, old-timer?
Now, we give them stuff to keep their teeth good, then we give them stuff to give them pep. On top of that, we give them stuff to make the coat shine. And to top it off, we give them a regular tonic. Man sakes, if I took all that stuff, I'd live to be as old as Noah.
Maybe you will, Stumpy.
Hey, fellas, look at the trail cabin.
Hey, smoke come out of chimney.
Hey, somebody's moved in and they ain't been invited.
Hold it there, fellas.
Easy, King.
Oh, Storm.
Oh, Matilde.
Yeah, this plenty surprise.
Oh, say it is. Whoever it is has got nerves. Must have broke the lock and busted in.
I think we'd better walk the rest of the way. I'm not too sure we should announce our arrival until we're sure who's inside.
I ain't heard a sound from the cabin yet, Sonny.
Don't let that fool you, fellas. Keep quiet now. Perhaps whoever's inside is watching us right now.
Not plenty right. Maybe person what's down rifle barrel.
Hold it here, fellas.
I don't hear nary a peep. Wait a minute. I'll take it back. As far as we know, there's a man inside.
That right, Stumpy. I think it only one man, or we hear talking.
Yeah, I think you're right, fellas. There's only one man inside the cabin. Let's go in and find out what he's up to.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Old Betsy here will keep him acting like a human being.
I'll go in first. You fellas cover me and follow.
Hey, that's a stout door, Sonny. If he's got it locked, we're going to have trouble getting in.
I'll give it a good kick and see what happens. You ready?
I'm ready.
He walks with me and talks. Well, that'll be a wall-eyed pollywog. I must be hearing things. You better stop at the docks and get me one of them there hearing aids.
Lives, Christ Jesus lives today.
You not need hearing aids, Stumpy. That fellow sing gospel song.
Put your guns away, fellas. We're going in like gentlemen.
Bacon and coffee sure smell good, gentlemen. I'm so hungry, I'm almost beside myself.
Just take another hitch in your belt, young feller, and I'll have some grub on the table in no time.
Stumpy, plenty good cook. We tease him about cooking, but he do all right.
Well, thank you, Sonny. Now get your bibs tied up, fellers. The grub's on the way.
I'm sure glad you fellas arrived when you did. I can't even boil water.
We're glad to do it, mister. What did you say your name is?
I didn't say it.
Soup's on, boys. Soon as we pray, you can feed your faces.
All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this food. We're grateful to Thee that we have an abundance of food. Use it to strengthen our bodies so that we might better serve Thee. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Rock of ages, cleft for me, let me hide myself in thee. Let the wall...
That hymn fits the moment perfectly, friend. Campfire here in front of the cabin, starry sky above, night noises, cry of the wolf. All is peace and quiet.
Peace, peace, wonderful peace, coming down from the Father above. Sweep over...
I'm sorry, Bill, Stumpy, Grey Wolf. I can't seem to finish the hymns, as you call them. I get so far, and that's all. I can start from the beginning again, but I can't go on. I don't even know who I am or what I'm doing here.
Well, I wouldn't fret about it, my friend. Obviously, from the gash on the back of your head, you've had an accident.
You lost memory. Only temporary, we hope.
Doesn't look too bad. We'll get you to a doctor after you've rested up a couple of days. There's no immediate hurry because you don't show signs or symptoms of brain injury. That is, as far as hemorrhage or concussion is concerned. You've had some brain damage from your accident, or you wouldn't have amnesia. I think it's wise that you rest for a while, since it's quite a ways to the doctor.
Yeah, bet it is. This here is thick forest. Can't get no helicopter in here to pick you up.
I see. I hope you'll excuse me. I'm very tired.
That all right, Stuart.
Sure, it's all right. Thank you. You've been very kind to me. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. What do you think, Bill?
I don't know what to think, old-timer. I really don't.
You say it, Bill. This tough one to figure out.
Well, let's turn in and sleep on it, fellas. Perhaps in the morning we'll have some answers.
Good morning, Bill. You get up plenty early today.
Good morning, Grey Wolf. Yeah, I'm in the mood for thinking this morning.
Me too.
Oh, good morning, Stumpy.
Good morning, old-timer. You sleep well?
Yeah, for sure did. So did our friend. He's still pounding his ear.
Not good. You need plenty of rest.
Well, Bill, have you come up with any answers yet?
Some of them, Stumpy. Not very many, nor the important ones.
Well, I'm listening.
Me too. Who is this fellow?
Well, that's one important answer I don't have, Grey Wolf. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? That is, the beginning as far as we know it.
Go ahead, Bill. Tell more.
First of all, he got to this cabin the same way we did.
Yeah, but, fellers, in this forest, he'd have to take this trail.
Secondly, I'd say he was thrown from a horse.
I think that too, Bill. You wear riding clothes.
Also, he cracked the back of his head, which means the horse threw him forward and he went head over first.
Yep, I'll buy that, sonny. And I'd say he's a Christian because of the hymns he sang.
Perhaps. At least we know he's been around at church sometimes, quite a lot.
I take it you think he comes from quite a ways, Bill?
Yes, I do, Stumpy.
Why? Couldn't he be from Knotty Pine?
Yes, he could, but I doubt it. You ever seen folks around Knotty Pine wear riding clothes when they go horseback? They wear jeans and jackets.
You have strong point there, Bill.
Come to think of it, sonny, I never have either. You mean this feller comes from a fair-sized city?
Right.
Maybe he visited to Knotty Pine.
Yes, Grey Wolf, that's a possibility.
Well, what's your plan, sonny?
Somebody, somewhere, is worried sick by now. Stumpy, you stay here with our friend. Grey Wolf and I'll go to the sheriff and the hospital and find out if there's a missing persons report on him. That's the story, Cal. I've written down the man's description.
Well, I don't have a missing persons here on my desk. Maybe you're too soon.
That's possible. Any suggestions?
Not offhand, Bill. I always get a missing persons report if one's turned in. And I'll be glad to let you know if one does come in.
I'm afraid I can't wait that long, Cal.
What's your plan to find this fellow's identity?
Would you contact the police at Canyon City to see if they have anything?
Why, sure, right away. Stick around. This won't take long. Yep, we get missing persons ads to run all the time, Grey Wolf. You got a description of this fella?
Yes, here.
No, we ain't had any so far that fits this man's description, Grey Wolf.
Will you let us know if you get ad for this man, Frank?
Sure, be glad to. I hope you find out who he is. I'd sure hate to have amnesia.
You're not only one that feels that way.
All right, Sheriff Hodges, if you hear anything, let me know. That's fine. Goodbye.
Not a thing, huh, Cal?
No, Bill. Not at Canyon City. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, it makes the job just that much harder.
Any more ideas right now, Bill?
No, Cal. I'm fresh out at the moment.
You have anybody call here at hospital about a man with this description?
No, Ranger, we haven't. I've been here all evening, too. There's nothing here in the special bulletins.
Thank you, Doctor. You let us know if somebody asks about this man.
I sure will. I'll call your office right away.
Well, Grey Wolf, it's been a dry run all the way around. Too bad.
Yes. What do we do next, Bill?
Let's go back out to the trail cabin and talk to Stumpy and our unknown friend. Perhaps we should call him Mr. X. Well, old-timer, how's Mr. X?
Come again, Mr. Who?
Mr. X. X is an algebraic symbol for the unknown.
Yeah? Why don't you talk English? Our friend's doing fine, Bill. What'd you find out?
Nothing, old-timer. Not one little iota.
Even less than that.
It's not so good. What now?
I want to talk to Mr. X again. Perhaps his memory's on the way back.
Nope, it ain't, Sonny. You can't talk to him now anyway. He's sleeping again.
You're sure a good nurse, Stumpy. You stay here. Grey Wolf and I are going to back trail this fellow and see if we can pick up anything that way.
He leave plenty good trail.
I'll say he did. Walked along here in a dazed condition.
Not right. I wonder he make trail cabin safely.
Well, let's push on fast since this trail's so clear, Grey Wolf.
Okay, Bill, that's a good idea. Bill, look here.
Huh?
Trail turn off into underbrush.
Oh, you got a sharp eye, Grey Wolf. All right, let's go. This should be easier to follow now.
He more dazed when he come through here than back on trail. Bill, look ahead where trail lead to.
Train tracks. Hey, you don't suppose... Oh, no, he couldn't.
You mean he ride freight car?
Yeah, but that's impossible. He's not a hobo.
We tell soon. Trail not lie. Bill, trail sign say you right. Here where he fall off freight train.
Like you say, Grey Wolf, trail sign doesn't lie, but it's incredible. What would he be doing on a freight car?
Not good question.
Hey, maybe I've got it. Hobos. Perhaps in his dazed condition, he met up with some hobos and they helped him into the empty.
It sounds far-fetched.
I'll say it does. I know how to check it out. Let's get back to the sheriff's office on the double.
Bill, this sounds crazy.
I know it does, Cal, but it might be just the thing we're looking for.
Yes, I agree. I've seen you pull some peculiar ones before, and they worked out. And now, here's where the closest hobo jungles are on this map.
There where nearest one is, outside Junction City, nearly 70 miles from here.
And that's the one we'll visit first. Let's go, Grey Wolf. Looks like we'll get right into camp, Grey Wolf, before they hear us.
Hey, you guys. Someone's coming.
Huh?
Hey, cops.
Beat it, you guys!
Hey, stay where you are! This isn't a raid. First guy that tries to leave gets pinched.
Watch him, Grey Wolf.
I watch close.
Hey, this guy's a ranger.
Yeah, government cop.
You can't touch us, Ranger. We ain't done nothing wrong, and we ain't on government property.
I'm looking for a man. He's 6 feet tall, weighs about 200 pounds. Wore riding clothes.
Oh, him. Oh, he was...
Shut up, Rails.
Did you see him, Rails? Okay, if you won't talk, perhaps you'd like the Junction City Police to pay you a visit.
No.
Okay, let's have it now and fast.
He was here, Ranger. We put him in an empty because we figured he was hot. I guess we was right. He is hot.
Which way did he come from?
Right through the brush over there.
This looks good, Grey Wolf. We've got our man.
I think you're right, Bill.
Let's try a shortcut and go to Junction City Police Headquarters. They no doubt have a missing persons on him by now.
Hey, you ain't gonna tell the city cops we're here, are you?
No. All right, let's go, Grey Wolf. That's the whole story, Sheriff Hodges. Do you have a missing persons on this man?
Well, I sure do, Mr. Jefferson. 2 of them, in fact.
That's interesting. Who they from?
Well, this man's wife and the stable owner where Reverend Atkins has his horse.
Reverend Atkins?
Yep. Reverend Stewart Atkins. He has the largest church in Junction City.
What's the address, Sheriff?
Maple and 4th Street. It's on the corner. His house is on the south side of the church.
Thanks, Sheriff Hodges. Let's go, Grey Wolf.
Oh, we not come too soon. Mrs. Atkins plenty worried now.
No doubt she is. Somebody's coming.
Rangers.
Yes, Mrs. Atkins. We have good news about your husband.
Oh, yes, you found him. Is he all right? Please tell me.
He's fine physically, Mrs. Atkins.
What do you mean? There is something wrong, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Your husband has amnesia.
Amnesia?
Now, don't get alarmed. I feel sure that it's only temporary.
How can you tell?
Well, I'm not a doctor, Mrs. Atkins. I'm only guessing. But I have a plan that will tell us if it's temporary or not. If I have your permission to try it.
Oh, yes, anything.
Fine. Grey Wolf, will you bring Stewart here?
I go right away, Bill.
I'll set up my plan the hours you're gone.
What can I do to help you put your plan into operation, Mr. Jefferson?
Do you, perchance, have any of your husband's sermons recorded, Mrs. Atkins?
I don't have any here, but he has recorded short devotional messages for the radio station.
Oh, that's perfect. I'll go get one and some equipment to play it on.
I'll drive you. I can't sit still now.
There we are. We're almost ready.
Is there anything else you want me to do?
Yes, Mrs. Atkins. Keep out of sight in the other room until I give you the signal to come in. I hope the shock of hearing himself and suddenly seeing you will be enough to recall his memory.
There's a car pulling up out in front now.
And that's Grey Wolf and Stumpy with Stewart. You better go into the other room, Mrs. Atkins.
Yes, right away. Just one question.
Yes?
What if this doesn't work?
Well, then, only the Lord and a doctor can help Stewart. Stewart, we'd like you to listen to this recording.
Sure, Bill. Is my name Stewart?
That's right, Sonny. This is your house, too.
My home?
Oh, we listen to recording now.
Yes. Go ahead, Bill. I'm listening.
Our blessed Lord was speaking to a very religious man, recorded for us in the 3rd chapter of John, when he said, "Ye must be born again." You see, it's
my voice preaching a sermon.
Each one.
Yes, Stu, that's your voice.
Irene! Now it all comes back to me.
Oh, Stu, I'm so glad.
My dear.
So glad.
Bill, Stumpy, Grey Wolf, how can I ever thank you for what you've done?
We'll think of something, Stu. We owe them so much. They saved your life.
I really don't know what to say, fellas.
Well, don't bother trying. You'll have me blubbering here in a minute.
We only do a job that we should do.
Now, the fellas are right, folks. This just goes to prove that the Lord watches over all of his children. If he watches the sparrows, then it's a simple matter for him to watch over us.
I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For his eye is on the sparrow.
Well, Stewart really went through something, didn't he? But the Lord knew all about it and took care of everything, even to the spot where he was pushed off the freight car. So, I think you'll agree I'm right. See you next week for more adventure with
Ranger Bill!
Ranger Bill, warrior of the woodland, struggling against extreme odds, traveling dangerous trails, fighting the many enemies of nature. This is the job of the guardian of the forest, Ranger Bill. Pouring rain, freezing cold, blistering heat, snow, floods, bears, rattlesnakes, mountain lions. Yes, all this in exchange for the satisfaction and pride of a job well done. This is the story of a stretch of highway outside of Knotty Pine called Death's Half Mile. Along this half mile, there are 3 killers. One is an extremely sharp curve. The second killer is a narrow bridge just around the sharp curve. The third killer is a railroad crossing, where the trains come roaring out of a narrow valley and across the highway. This is the place where, on the average, there are 3 accidents a week. Let's find out how Bill and his rangers correct this horrible stretch of road in the story, Death's Half Mile. On one side of the highway, called Death's Half Mile, mountains drop to the edge of the road, except where a narrow valley opens up. Along this valley runs a small river and a railroad track. On the other side of the road, the ground is fairly level, and there's a ranch. Bruno Allen and his family live there close to the highway in a comfortable home. It's about midnight, and Bruno and his son Eric are sleeping.
Hey, Pop! Wake up!
I heard it, son. You get the first aid kit and I'll call the police.
Okay, Pop. With my jeans and shoes on in a hurry.
Good boy. I wonder if this will ever stop. Let's go, son.
I'll meet you out front.
Operator, this is Bruno Allen. Please notify the state police that there's been another accident on Death's Half Mile. My son and I are getting out there to give first aid.
Cars, Pop. Looks like a head-on collision.
How's it look, Sarge?
2 men are dead, Bruno. A woman's dying. The doc's trying hard to save her. The children seem all right. You saved a couple of them with your first aid, Bruno.
I sure wish something should be done to stop this butchery. 3 accidents a week, Sarge.
I know.
Is that a ranger car coming in?
Yeah, I radioed Bill to come out. Hey, Smitty, tell the other ambulance to back in. The doc's signaling for it.
Okay, Sarge.
Hey, driver, bring your ambulance in here.
Hello, Perry. Bruno.
Hi, Bill.
How are you, Bill?
Hey, this is a nasty one, Sarge. How'd it happen?
I don't know, Tanner. Bruno called us.
Bruno, you and Eric ought to get a medal for the lives you've saved.
We just assumed we didn't have to do this, Stumpy.
I know what you mean, Sonny. I can see your point quite clear.
Eric means what he says, fellas, and he speaks for both of us. Bill, will you and Stumpy and Grey Wolf stop over at the house for coffee? I'd like to talk to you.
It's plenty late. Maybe you want sleep.
I can't sleep for a long while after one of these, Grey Wolf.
We'll stop by, Bruno. I want to check out the details with Perry, and then we'll be off. Let's go, Sarge.
All right, Bill.
Well, that's the last ambulance. Let's go back to the house, fellas. Nothing more we can do here.
Yep, I reckon you're right there, young feller. The doing should be done before these accidents happen. You make a tasty cup of Java, Bruno. It hits the spot.
Pop doesn't do bad for a pinch hitter. Mom's away over to Junction City to visit Aunt Minnie.
Bruno, what's on your mind?
Death's half mile, Bill. Something's got to be done about that suicide lane.
Yeah, I agree with you. But only half the highway is under my jurisdiction. The half on the mountainside because it's in the national park and government range territory.
Oh, so that's why the Sarge called you, huh, Bill?
That's right, Eric. It's a crazy arrangement, but that's where the boundary is, right down the middle of the road.
Here, fellas, now, take a look at these figures. I've kept a record of every accident that's happened here for the past 6 months. This will give you an idea of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
You know, Bruno, you've got a real head on your shoulders. This is a pretty jolting record of what goes on along Death's half mile.
Thanks for the compliment, Bill, but that's what they all said.
I don't understand.
That's plenty strange remark to make.
Well, Pop's talking about the highway commissioner, the captain of the state police, and the superintendent of the railroad. They gave Pop a pat on the back, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, did you go and see these fellers?
No, Stumpy, I wrote to them. I gave them the facts, and all I got in return was a thank you. Said they'd look into it. Nothing's ever come of it.
I don't think they care how many people get killed on the highway.
Eric, don't talk like that. You don't know the facts, so don't make any harsh statements.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pop.
Will you see what you can do with the powers that be, Bill? Maybe they'll listen to you.
Yeah, they sure will, Sonny. Bill has a way of making anybody listen.
Oh, you speak plenty truth, Stumpy.
Flattery will get you nowhere, fellas.
It ain't flattery, young feller. It's the plain truth.
Bill, please, will you help my Pop?
Okay, Eric. I'll help your dad.
Oh, swell.
Oh, thanks, Bill. I know if they won't listen to you, they won't listen to anybody.
I'm not making any promises, Bruno, but I'll give it a try.
By the time Bill's through with these fellers, they'll be willing to listen. Mark my words. Seeing that accident kind of makes a feller think about how dangerous an automobile is, don't it, fellers?
You say plenty that time, Stumpy. Car like loaded gun.
You can imagine what Bruno and Eric go through each time there is an accident. They're the first ones there.
It's bad to hear hurt people crying for help and find bodies laying on highway. How you plan to help Bruno, Bill?
First thing I'm going to do, Grey Wolf, is go back out in the morning and take a real hard look at Death's half mile.
I pull off plenty far on shoulder, Bill, so car not in way.
That's a good idea, Grey Wolf. Leave the red light flashing so it'll slow down oncoming cars. We don't want to be part of an accident.
You can say that again, young feller.
There's curve ahead. Very bad turn.
Yeah, sure is. It's like a hairpin almost. There's only one sign. All it says is curve ahead.
More warning signs needed for this curve and speed limit sign, too.
That's right, Grey Wolf. You've hit the nail on the head. I think there should be a really large sign about here, and it should have reflectors on it so it can be plainly seen at night.
And then another sign showing what kind of curve this is, and also a speed limit sign ahead.
Maybe a high concrete ridge in the middle of the road would keep the fellers in one lane out of the other.
That's an excellent idea, old-timer. You should be a safety engineer. Let's walk around the curve and take a look at the bridge.
That's death trap number 2.
That bridge ain't wide enough for a bad elephant to get through.
It's strange that 4-lane highway become 2-lane at bridge.
That's right, Grey Wolf. It happens that way frequently. See that there aren't any narrow bridge warning signs, nor are the abutments striped with black and white paint.
Maybe reflectors help show bridge structure, too.
Yeah, I believe they would.
Boy, a feller don't have much of a chance. You come around that curve and right at this skinny bridge. If one don't get you, the other one will.
Let's take a look at death trap number 3. Well, here it is, fellas. A perfect setup for an accident.
A train come roaring out of valley and sound is muffled by narrow valley walls.
Yep, it's on you like a fuming dragon before you know where it come from.
Here come one now, Bill.
That'll be the Fireball Express. Grey Wolf, get on the other side and stop any cars.
I hurry.
Hey, look at that monster come roaring, would you?
It sure was deceptive. To a motorist, it's even more so. There should be wigwag signals here with blinking lights.
Yeah, if you said it, sonny. Them there wooden cross arms don't tell you nothing, except that there's a railroad track here. Most folks probably think that this is some backwoods line. They don't realize that some of the fastest trains in the country fly through here full blast.
That fellow scoot through here like arrow. Need more warning.
That's right, Grey Wolf. Well, fellas, I've seen enough. Let's go back to headquarters, and I'll write up my recommendations.
What you plan to do, Bill?
The first thing I'm going to do is show them to the State Highway Commissioner.
You finished writing recommendations, Bill?
Yes, Grey Wolf, I have. There we are, all 5 pages of them.
You writing a book, sonny?
Not quite, Stumpy, but I haven't left anything out.
You go to Canyon City now.
Yes, Grey Wolf. I'll be back early this evening.
You're walking into a lion's den, sonny. I understand the highway commissioner's about as ornery as a grizzly coming out of hibernation.
I'll feed him these recommendations and see how he acts.
Bill, this is a very impressive write-up. I say that seriously. Originally, I thought that Bruno Allen was stretching a point or two, but...
Words can only describe half the truth, Commissioner.
Yes, I'm beginning to realize that. Now that you've stepped into the picture, I know this is serious. And you don't spend your time on nonsense.
I don't mean to be caustic, Commissioner, but this flower throwing isn't solving the problem or answering the questions you've read in my write-up.
Yeah, I know that, Bill. I really wasn't trying to avoid the issue. All the compliments are true and deserving. However, I was paving the way for the bad news.
Bad news?
Yes. There isn't enough money in my budget to follow your recommendations.
Not even to put in the signs I've asked for?
I'm afraid not.
But why? I don't understand.
Bill, see those drawings on the wall?
Yeah. The 3 superhighways the state's building, aren't they?
Yes, Bill, they are. They've taken every red cent we can scrape together.
I see. I thought the highways were financed with bond issues.
Well, they are, but the bond money keeps coming in dribbles and, well, it's all soaked up like rain on dry ground.
You can't set aside enough money to take care of Death's Half Mile?
The construction men have to be paid, so do our material bills. I'm sorry, Bill, but there's not a thing I can do for you now. Folks will just have to drive more carefully when they travel that stretch of road.
That's the whole story, Mr. Scanlon. And the facts you have before you in black and white.
Yes, Mr. Jefferson, I've been looking at them, and I must say you've got a strong case here.
Thank you. I think you'll find that all the statements I've made can be checked out and found to be accurate.
Without a doubt, Mr. Jefferson, without a doubt. But there's more than just these facts to consider.
Oh?
Mr. Jefferson, if we were to put wigwag signals and flashing warning lights at every country road crossing, this railroad would go broke first thing in the morning.
But that isn't what I'm asking, Mr. Scanlon. I can understand your problem, and I think you're right. However, I'm not asking this for every country road crossing. This crossing is definitely a hazard crossing and needs attention badly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jefferson, but I can't agree with you. If we do this for you, then every crossing will have to be treated the same way. We'll set a precedent, and our company can't afford to do that.
Is that your final word, Mr. Scanlon?
Yes, I'm afraid it is. The drivers will just have to be more careful.
Honestly, Bill, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I can't see how more frequent patrolling will stop the slaughter on that stretch of road.
It won't stop it, Captain Paulson, but I know it'll reduce it. Your men can hail down fast drivers and warn them of the waiting traps.
Yeah, you do have a point there, Bill. But there's one hitch in it.
What's that, Captain?
I don't have the extra men to do the job. My force is understaffed. Why, we need 30 more men.
And there's no possibility of getting the extra patrols?
Sorry, Bill. I just can't do it now. I can't even make the required patrols right now. Tell you what, though.
Yes?
50 men will be graduated from police school at the end of the year. And I'll put the extra men on patrol duty around Death's Half Mile.
Well, that'll be fine, but it doesn't solve the problem right now, Captain.
I know that, Bill. But there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, young fella, you're licked now, ain't you?
Not yet, Stumpy.
Bill, you never learn when you're beat. What plan you have now?
I'm going to try an experiment for a week.
Experiment?
We're going to do our own patrolling. Stumpy, go out to the garage and get another patrol car.
Okay, Sonny. You're up to something, and I've got a feeling it's going to be good. I'll get the car ready.
What idea you have, Bill?
We're going to see if we can't cut down the accident rate on Death's Half Mile for 1 week, Grey Wolf.
You pick up more rangers for a job.
Not for the daylight hours, Grey Wolf. I'll put 2 men at each end of Death's Half Mile for the night watch. It won't be so lonesome that way, and one can sleep while the other stands guard and changes off. Let's go. This is your spot, old-timer.
That's fine. This is a right nice place to stand guard. How are we going to work this, Sonny?
I want you to stop every car. Warn them about the dangers ahead and tell them to reduce speed and then let them go on.
Say, that's easy as falling off a log.
Okay, Stumpy. All hands will stand 8-hour watches, including myself. I'll take the first night watch. Tom will probably relieve Grey Wolf. I'll bring 2 more of the boys out to keep us company at night.
Okay, Bill. Sounds good to me.
It sounds good to me, too, Bill.
I think we'll cut down the accident toll to nothing for the next week. Let's go to our station, Grey Wolf. See you later, Stumpy.
Yell loud if you get lonesome. I yell back.
It'll be easier to talk to myself and yell for a while.
Here come car now, Bill.
Let's stop them and give them a helpful warning that'll save their lives.
What you looking for, Rangers? Bandit?
No, we're not looking for anyone in particular, mister.
Oh? Why the roadblock, then?
To save your life and the lives of the people in your car. The next half mile of highway is called Death's Half Mile.
It is? How come?
There's a railroad crossing over tracks that carry fast trains, then there's a narrow bridge and a nasty curve. Go ahead now, but drive slowly and carefully.
Thanks for the warning, Ranger. I don't want to be caught napping.
You're welcome, mister. Now go ahead.
What is the feeling inside, Bill? That fellow will appreciate our warning.
That's right, Grey Wolf. Nobody wants to have an auto accident. That is, nobody in his right mind.
Here come 3 cars now.
You take care of them, Grey Wolf. I'm going to walk over and talk to Stumpy. I'm beginning to get another idea.
Many thanks, Rangers. I've heard about this place, but I didn't know exactly where it was.
That's what I'm here for, Sonny. Now go ahead and take it easy.
How are things going, old friend?
Yeah, right smart, Sonny. All the drivers are thankful I stopped him and told him what's ahead.
That's fine, Stumpy. I'm going over and have a talk with Bruno and Eric now.
What's up?
What do you mean, what's up?
I can tell by the pleased with yourself look you have on your face that your brain cells are turning over full speed.
Well, I was just thinking.
Yeah, that's when things start happening.
Half of this terrible piece of road is ours, Stumpy. Why can't we put a sign up at each end on our half of the highway?
Say, now, you're cooking with gas, honey. Make it big enough so even an owl can read it in the daytime.
Bruno, you sure are a handy fella to have around.
So are you, Bill. Eric and I have been getting some wonderful sleep since you got your men out on the highway.
Man, it sure has been peaceful around here, Phil. I used to shudder every time I heard a car go by.
I can understand how you feel, Eric.
I'll have these signs finished in a couple of hours, Bill.
Okay. I'll go back to the highway. You bring them out when they're ready?
Sure will. When folks read these, they ought to stop and think.
Those are right smart signs, Bill. They ought to do the trick.
I don't think they'll correct the difficulties here, but they may make drivers stop and think.
And then slow down, huh, Bill?
I hope so, Eric.
There you are, fellas. Both signs are up.
Ah, plenty of good job.
Boy, that hits right between the eyes. Are you next? This is Death's Half Mile. Drive carefully.
That ought to stop 'em. I think you've licked the problem, Sonny.
I'm not through yet.
What you mean, Bill?
There are 3 gentlemen that have to be shown this problem firsthand. What time does the Fireball Express roar through here, Eric?
5 minutes after 10 every morning, Bill. And man, does she go.
I have a date with the Fireball Express right here at this crossing at 10:05 in the morning. Hello, Commissioner. This is Bill Jefferson.
Yes, Bill. What's on your mind?
I'd like you to take a ride with me out to Death's Half Mile in the morning.
I don't see that it's necessary for me to do that, Bill. I haven't changed my mind.
Would you do it as a favor to me, please?
All right, Bill. What time?
Be at my office by 9:30.
Okay, I'll be there.
I'm not asking you to change your mind, Mr. Scanlon. I'm just asking you to take a ride with me.
I know you're up to something, but I guess the only way to find out what it is will be to go on that drive with you. Well, what time?
Be at my office at 9:30.
I'll be there.
Well, Captain, what do you say?
All right, Bill. What time?
Be at my office at 9:30.
I'll be there.
Bill, I'd like to know what you're up to.
So would I, Mr. Scanlon. Well, I've known Bill long enough to be sure we're not going sightseeing.
I'm afraid you gentlemen will have to wait for my answer. We're approaching Death's Half Mile, gentlemen.
Oh, a sign.
Oh, I wonder who put that up there.
Kind of gory, isn't it?
I put the sign up, and there's one just like it at the other end.
Aren't you going to slow down, Bill? There's a hairpin curve ahead, you know.
Well, I don't see any warning. The sign just says curve. Doesn't say anything about it being dangerous.
This isn't any time for jokes, Mr. Jefferson. Slow down.
I'm only going 35 miles an hour, Superintendent.
Great Scott, man. Slow down and we'll never make it.
We almost got off the road.
Captain, I'm driving at a safe and sane speed, am I not?
Yes, Bill, you are. I see why you brought us. Hey, look out for that bridge. Man, we'll never make it.
Well, now we're almost through Death's Half Mile, and nothing's happened.
Stop at the tracks. The Fireball Express is coming through the valley right now.
I don't hear any train, Mr. Scanlon.
Bill, in the name of common sense, stop. Get us all killed.
Frankly, gentlemen, there's no indication that a train's coming. We'll be perfectly safe. I can hear very well.
I heard the whistle, Bill. Stop this car. I'll jump.
Well, it seems that I did hear something like a train whistle. All right, I'll stop.
Whoa. Thank heaven.
Boy, am I glad you stopped. We'd all be dead.
That's exactly my point, gentlemen. I'm sorry I had to do this, but ordinary appeals didn't do any good. Bruno Allen tried to get you to listen. I tried, and you turned a deaf ear to me also. This was the only thing left. I had to give you this first-hand experience and show you how easy it is to get killed anywhere along Death's Half Mile. I expect you gentlemen to act accordingly. Well, Bruno, Eric, what do you think of Death's Half Mile now?
Bill, I can't believe it. There are adequate and proper signs. There's a bumper hump in the middle of the curve, and it's painted yellow.
Yeah, and the bridge has been widened to 4 lanes.
You said it, Sonny. There's one of the best ding-dongs at the railroad crossing you ever seen.
Also flashing red lights and wig-wag signals. State Police Patrol more now than ever.
Bill, you and your men have done automobile drivers a real service.
Well, don't forget, Bruno, you and Eric have done your job well, too.
Now we can put another sign up. This is the world's safest half mile.
Yes, it was a battle, Eric, but now you can put up your new sign. Isn't it strange that we can never learn by other people's experiences? We have to go through them ourselves. That's what I had to do to the superintendent, the commissioner, and the captain of the state police. Well, see you next week for more adventure with
Ranger!